The tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. 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 Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach and the bench deep. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play, we ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Thursday evening. We got a saying around here. Last show, best show. Boys, the juice is loose tonight. The juice is absolutely loose. I'm on steroids.
Oh.
I'm on PEDs.
Yeah?
Yeah, about 8 days, run through a full cycle of antibiotics on the earache. Nothing changed at all. Got fed up. Told you that I'm going back to the doc. Doc put me on that juice. Told me to stay away from taking it at night, though, because might have a little bit too much energy. And I said, boy, you told the wrong one that. So, yeah, we're on some steroids tonight, hopefully on the mend. But I wanted to open with the fact that for the first time in my life, on PEDs. Feels pretty good.
You know, I don't ever know that I would recommend illegal substances in the game, but for your sake, I might have to let it slide this time.
You know what? I'll admit it up front. I just wanted to let everybody know that, in fact, I am on performance-enhancing drugs tonight. So let's get after it. We got a great show, a loaded one for you guys tonight. Alabama AD absolutely getting cooked out here on the main timeline. Top 5 exciting things about the offseason. We'll talk about that. Who are the happiest fan bases? Is this a Brandon Walker spinoff, by the way?
No.
Okay, just making sure, even though it now is going to be a Brandon Walker spinoff, because
did he do something for that?
Yeah, I mean, he did the fan bases that are actually happy. It's all beside the point. We're going to give our opinion on it tonight. And of course, Matt Patricia officially hired as the Ohio State defensive coordinator. Some mixed reviews on that one, and we got exit interviews as well. But I want to open the show with tonight with this. I do love when coaches don't duck around the elephant in the room. I do appreciate, even if it's just lip service, even if it's just general coach speak, I appreciate that you address the awkward conversations. Ohio State recently promoted Brian Hartline to offensive coordinator, something they've already done in years past. and it didn't exactly go very well. He called plays for about 3 or 4 games in 2023 before Ryan Day ultimately took over the rest of the year. And then not only that, went out and hired my man that's up at Boston College,
Bill O'Brien.
And went out and hired Bill O'Brien to be the offensive coordinator. O'Brien went to take the head coaching job at Boston College, passed up on Hartline again, and went out and hired Chip Kelly. Now, one of the first things that I was wondering when this news came out was, what's going to make this one different? What's going to make this time around different with Brian Hartline? Why are we a little bit more optimistic about it this time based off these quotes that I'm going to give you? And what are you going to do about how he was kind of stripped of it previously, right? What are you going to do as a head coach when you hire an offensive coordinator that you very publicly demoted in front of everyone in 2023, went out and hired over twice, and now, because everyone's left, we are suddenly promoting him? What are we going to do about that narrative, especially within our own fan base, but outside, like when people like me are talking about us? How are we going to, quote unquote, defend this thing that obviously didn't work out in 2023? And I have Ryan Day's comments today, and I appreciate, again, him staring at the elephant in the room and not just ignoring it, at least pointing to it and be like, yeah, that happened. We're optimistic that it's going to be better. Quote, you talk about sacrifice, talking about Brian Hartline. Here's a guy who was named offensive coordinator, and I ended up calling plays the rest of that year. But he grew that year, and then we decided to bring in Chip, and he had to take a step back. But he learned from Chip, and I thought down the stretch, he did some of his best work I've seen him do as a coach. Some of the passing game install, the route concepts, the coaching that was done right there was at a very, very high level. Certainly Keenan Bailey helped out a lot. Billy Fessler helped out a lot, and I was very much so involved with it. But you could just see him growing as the season went on, his understanding of protections especially. And then he went on to say, some guys would have said, wait a minute, I'm going somewhere else. He didn't name me the coordinator. Now he's going to be the coordinator. Now he's going to call the plays. The loyalty and that patience is paying off for him, and I think he's going to be the best coordinator in the country. Just general thoughts on those statements right there, because I've got several.
I mean, this is as well as you can handle the situation. I think it's kind of obvious that Ryan Day, one, kind of had the rug swept out from under him on the offensive coordinator coaching search. So this is kind of I don't want to call it a desperation move, but I think if he could hire someone else, he probably would. That said, he's done a ton of great things. I mean, receiver room has consistently been the best in college football. So the fact is that I get why he's doing it, but he's answering all the questions the right way.
We were hitting absolute home runs in this statement until this sentence right here. Certainly Keenan Bradley helped out a lot. Billy Fissler helped out a lot. And obviously I was very much so involved with that coaching stretch that I said he did a great job of. Felt like a little bit of a backhanded compliment, but I understand what he's doing. He's trying to provide, positive reinforcement to those assistants that he obviously passed over here as well.
Well, not only that too, but I think it also kind of provides some assurances to your fan base as well of, yeah, we maybe are just promoting Brian Hartline, but I'm also here to hold his hand. I've also got some assistants that are going to continue to hold his hand that have all done good things. And that to me speaks of, it is Brian Hartline that is going to be calling the plays initially. It could very well change again, but it's going to be a group effort. It's not just going to be one guy that's got the loudest voice in the room that gets the he may get the final say so, but there's a lot of help in here.
All I care about is who's calling plays. I don't care who you label the offensive coordinator. I care about who's got the play sheet and who's in the quarterback's headset in those up to that last 15 seconds. And the first iteration of the Brian Hartline OC play calling experience did not go very well. They scored 23 points to open the season in 2023 against Indiana, 35 points against Youngstown State, scored 60 against a mid-major opponent, and then went on the road and scored 17 points against Notre Dame. I don't know when he took over play calling duties. I would imagine it was probably right after that 17-point performance after that Notre Dame game. So I'm just curious, like, how long's the leash actually going to be? Now, this is something that it doesn't make me feel some type of way about Ohio State, because I do believe that Ryan Day is one of the sport's best play callers. I think when Ryan Day has the ability to actually design plays and call plays and spend time developing game plans for the offense, they're really, really good. I don't mind what they do offensively. Obviously, I thought Chip changed what they did run game-wise this last year. But most of the passing game concepts that Ohio State has been running for the last 5, 6, 7 years since Day has been there, even as a coordinator, they've been the same. They kind of run the same offensive passing system over and over again. And we really saw that this past year when we saw kind of the old Marvin Harrison Jr. game plan get dusted off for Jeremiah Smith, where it's like, we've got to figure out a way to get 12 to 15 touches to this guy. And if that's the offense in 2025, The play calling shouldn't be hard, is what I'm saying. Get it to 4. That's what the play calling should be in 2025.
Yeah, and that's a nice, easy way to put it. But I think it also kind of gets a little more interesting this year because you do still have Jeremiah Smith, and that should be the main talking point because he is one of the best players in college football. But you still lost some pretty big guys in that receiving unit, whether it be in the tight end room. I mean, you lose Emeka Egbuka, who may not have put up those bigger production numbers as some of your top-rated Ohio State wide receivers to come out of that program, but he was as solid as it got, in my opinion, as a number 2 option in offense, and he was consistently the number 2 option, and he was a really freaking good one. So there's kind of some new, and you got to figure out the run game as well. You lose 2 really good backs. So I do think there is some things that they're going to have to work through a little bit.
No different than any other top 5 football program. When they lose starters, they lose NFL starters.
Yeah.
Like these aren't, oh, they were good players for 4 years, we're going to miss their leadership. No, you're going to miss the absolute like blue chip playmaking ability. Boys, Brian Hartline currently makes $1.6 million, and I would imagine he gets a pay bump with this promotion, even if it's just in title and in pay. Wonder if he's got anyone controlling his spending, or at least maybe taking a view of it. Any ideas where that might be capable?
Yeah, I have a perfect solution for you. It's called Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon, rocketmoney.com/gameon, rocketmoney.com/gameon.
Appreciate Rocket Money. Appreciate it. I also appreciate you holding back what I think was a sneeze.
Yeah, I really had to fight that one.
Wow.
That was professional as hell.
Was tough.
I watched it twice. I watched it in live. I'm like, what is going on with man? Is he okay? And then I watched the replay.
Yeah, that one kind of hurt.
Dude, you fought that one off.
I fought it really hard.
Hey, shout out to Rocket Money. Shout out to /GameOn. Shout out to your professional
Thank you.
there. Because that would have been.
Can't sneeze during the ad read.
No, you can't. Can't sneeze during the ad read. That would have been a complete misfire on the ad read. So good job.
Might have gotten dropped.
Yeah, might have, probably not. Who would drop this channel, to be honest with you? Welcome in. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. Alabama's athletic director, Greg Byrne, an absolute idiotic way of stopping field storming suggested today. Don't know why we have to feel the need to stop field storming, to be honest with you. Top 5 most exciting things about the offseason. We'll talk about it tonight. Who's the happiest fan base in college football right now? Matt Patricia, officially to Ohio State. We got some exit interviews tonight, and we're going to debut Rate the Take tonight. We're going to debut Rate the Take here in the middle of February. Excited to do that. And we have a to-do list, as you can see, based on the title of this video. And I got to be honest, I'm looking at the numbers. Not ideal. Not ideal for a viewership number right now. We're under 100 on YouTube. We're under 500 on Twitter. I need people to start showing up.
I mean, we didn't even have a comment during the 2 minutes and 30 seconds of our countdown tonight. Not a single one.
Like, dude, I do understand that it is February. I am very well aware of that. I also know we're like 28 days from the start of spring football. Okay. And then that's a month and a half, about 6 weeks everywhere of real storylines to talk about and real things to hit on. And then we're basically into SEC Media Days. I mean, it happens like that. So it may be February. I need you guys locked and loaded in on this channel as much as you can be. The ones who are here, the real ones, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review. If you miss any portion of tonight's broadcast, it will be made readily available. However, wherever you get your podcast, just search the Film Guy Network. Boys, where do you want to start? Do we want to stay in Columbus?
Might as well.
Yeah.
It's been a very news-heavy timeline for the Ohio State Buckeyes, probably because their season ended last.
Yeah, usually when the team season ends last and you win the national title, and then there's the expectations of you can talk about a national championship team a lot, especially when there's a lot of coaching overhaul and player overhaul like that. So it makes sense.
All right, so it was officially announced, I believe, yesterday afternoon. Yesterday afternoon, that Matt Patricia is going to be the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. First stint in college football, I believe, for Patricia. All of his DC experience has come via the NFL. Obviously, had a couple of really, really good stints with the Patriots. Didn't go so well as a head coach for the Detroit Lions. They hired him mid-season to take over play calling duties in Philly. Didn't go so well there. He's been a free agent for the last, I think, 12 months. And now he's the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. First initial thoughts on the hire.
I liked it, to be honest. I mean, I thought
you're a casual. That's what internet says. Internet says if you like this hire, you are a non-ball knowing casual.
Okay, I'll take that one on the chin, I guess. I just for the circumstances of where we are at the calendar year of football, of like football hirings, like this is a different schedule too of like the NFL, and even but completely different for college football. Like, who is available for you to hire in this landscape? Like, everybody's kind of locked down on a college football staff in regards to who is going to be on a college football staff. So the fact that you got a guy, Matt Patricia, who has a lengthy amount of experience in the NFL and is attached to one of the greatest football coaches of all time and had some really good stints. Sure, there's been up and downs, but you'd have a hard time finding any coach that hasn't had some ups and downs in their career. So I thought, honestly, all things considered, is a good hire.
I think part of the issue that you have when these big brands, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Texas of the world, when they hire, when the DC position comes up, when the OC position comes open, you want to get the absolute knockout. Like, you want to get head coaches that are middling. Like, I understand Matt Patricia might not be the sexiest name, but it's probably one of the best names you had available at this moment.
You know what I did today, boys?
What'd you do today?
You know, tomorrow's Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Okay, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. The first thing I did today when I talked to my wife, I said, hey, what are you expecting tomorrow? What does tomorrow look like for you? What are the standard expectations for tomorrow? This is year 9 of us going into Valentine's Day. I always like to set the expectations. Reason being, because I got to know them. I got to know what the expectations are. They got to be reasonable expectations as well. I think what Ohio State fans do to themselves, and a lot of college football fans, like you mentioned, a lot of college football fans of these premier programs, they have these outlandish expectations about where their program stands within the onslaught of job opportunities across the world of football, not just college football. And we made jokes about them joking about hiring Mike Vrabel. And I talked to somebody that was, I trust and I enjoy their opinions, particularly about football outside of the SEC. Hey, your thoughts on the hire? Well, I didn't think they did a very good job. I think they should have gone out and tried to hire a guy like Jeff Hafley. Do you know who Jeff Hafley is?
Name sounds very familiar.
Jeff Hafley is the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah, you can get him.
Easy. Just bring them on in. By the way, Michigan background, not an Ohio State Buckeye. Okay, so like, I do think we get to a point, particularly at programs like Ohio State, we just think because they have an endless budget and because they're a top 3 football program in college football, perennially, annually, year in, year out, playing a big conference, can pay you money, that they can just go out and get whoever they want. And I don't think that is the reality. In fact, I know that's not the reality, okay? Because they tried to hire DJ Durkin. And DJ Durkin was like, I'll just take the 2.3 from Auburn and I'll stay right here. Okay, so I think they tried. I think they tried to go out and get whatever hot name there is. I also think there is a level of fandom that's always going to be disappointed in these types of announcements because it's how many guys are out here really searching through the defensive coordinator availabilities? You know what I mean?
Right.
I taught college football for a living. I couldn't tell you who the hottest young defensive coordinator is. I really couldn't. I throw names at you that I know have been good coordinators for a while. I throw Schumann at you. I throw Venables at you. I throw a bunch of guys that have been around for a long time. I throw the Knowles guy at you. I throw a bunch of dudes that I know been coordinating for 12 years. I don't know who the 32-year-old hot hire is right now, and I don't think general fans do either.
Well, and I would point too as like you've kind of seen the NFL over the last few years of the hottest name on the market fluctuates so quickly and it can dwindle so fast. Like I think there are 2 prime examples of this. Eric Bieniemy with the Chiefs was the offensive coordinator. Everybody, every single offseason was, we want to go hire this guy. He needs to be our next head coach. Then goes UCLA, craps the bed. I mean, it's now basically non-existent in the football world. And then also Slowick, who was the offensive coordinator for the Texans last hiring cycle. Everybody wanted Slowick to be their head coach. He just got canned. He's not even the offensive coordinator for the Texans now. Like, it fluctuates so much for like 1 month. You might think this is the greatest hire, then the very next year, he's not even a thought in your mind anymore.
I think the other thing to take into consideration here is that you get such a negative reaction because you're following up someone that likely did a very good job. Most of the time when these Ohio States, the Georgias, the big names that we talked about, when those jobs come open, it's because they're departing to get something else. They left. They did such a good job. Todd Monken's a perfect example of this. Those 21 and 22 offenses did really, really good for Georgia. He's arguably one of the greatest OCs in Georgia football history, definitely on the Kirby Smart era. So fans are going to react to anyone less than that as, oh my God, it's not so-and-so. So Ohio State fans are probably doing the same thing when they just had a national championship team.
I do want to address something that's going on in the chat right now. Josh Pate is a friend of this show. Okay, he's a friend of this show. He's good people. He's been very good to us throughout our career so far to start this national, college football talk stuff. But I see the Pate stuff going on in the chat right now. Y'all telling me where you're from. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys listening. But I want to start my own thing. Okay, and here's what I want. I want football credos. I want football credentials in there. So here's how I would do this. Brooks Austin, 8 years Pop Warner, 4 years high school, 5 years college.
No credos.
A lifelong fan. how long you been listening? Now look, you ain't got to be a lifer on the gridiron, as they say, but most of you guys have been lifer college football fans for a long time. So if that's the case, give me when you fell in love with college football.
Or give us your football comp of who you are.
I like that too.
Ooh, that's a good one.
If I were to play football,
I find basketball comps to be even more fun. Big Baby Davis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big Baby Davis
right here.
That's
a good one. But no, I do like this. I like either player comp, give me a player comp for you, or credos.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
This will make chat fun.
This will make chat fun. So there you go. Give me credos.
8 years Little League Pop Warner.
8 years Pop Warner?
4 years high school.
Hell yeah. Got a smooth Baker dozen in there.
Exactly.
A smooth does.
Almost played in college, but nah.
Kennesaw State wasn't ready for
Knee
you.
injury?
Yeah, exactly. I still want to play D2 football, man.
All right, so there we go. Been following dog football since 1974. That's the way to do it in there,
Seasoned.
Winston. By the way, Winston Relaford Jr. definitely been watching ball since 1974.
That's a hell of a name.
That's a hell of a name. We still making Winstons.
Well, I mean, he's been watching since '74. I don't think they've been dropping new Winstons.
Who's the hottest, newest Winston? Jameis?
Jameis, probably.
We ain't got no first name Winstons.
No.
That auto-tuned dog.
Auto-tuned dog?
You don't remember that?
Nope. You're missing me here.
Yeah, you're missing me too.
I'll have to pull it. We'll show you after the show.
All right. I do like that. I like that. Football credentials in the chat here. This is a football, ball knowers, ball lovers channel around here. So yeah, let's hear them credos. Let's hear them football credentials up in the chat when you show up. Appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Let's talk about this athletic director story out of Alabama. For some reason, there's this. Like the biggest thing nowadays in college football, it's not tampering, it's not, player movement, it's not NIL, it's not, coaches leaving for 17 different jobs in 12 years. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with this field storming epidemic that we got going on in college football. Everybody trying to figure out how to stop it. It's not just college football, it's college basketball. It's a lot of the big events. Big game, storm the field. Now, for some reason, athletic directors are up in arms, so much so that we got this statement from Greg Byrne, the athletic director at Alabama. Quote, I don't think from a financial penalty standpoint, you can really put anything into place that would curtail it. I think that has to be other steps, other actions, Byrne stated. I truly believe if we said to the home team, if they storm the field or the court, they're going to lose that game right then and there, that will stop it. Thoughts on giving the dub to the team that got stormed?
That's just dumb. That's so
idiotic.
that's just we're playing a game, whether it be basketball or football, whatever sport you want to call it. We're playing a game where these players are deciding the outcome of the game, and then we're gonna, in return, put it in the hands of some 20-year-old college students. I mean, hey, adults can storm the court too. I don't want to discriminate any at all, but in the hands of fans that had no part in this outcome, and then almost let them decide what happens. Like, hey, we're going to get a court storming? Are we going to end up losing this? Like, we just had a 20-point comeback, but we might end up actually losing this game because of some stupid fans? That's dumb. Like, that ruins the whole point of the sport.
The SEC officiating crew showed fans this year that you can do things to change just one call. One call is all you can change.
Now you're going to let them change the outcome of a game?
You can throw shit on the field, and you're telling me that you can change the outcome of a game now if you were on the field? I would say this. The major college football programs that when you do lose on the road typically lead to a field storming, there's usually probably about 5,000 to 7,000 fans from that school on the road. Yeah. Is that fair to say? What's stopping those
close to 10 to 12?
Exactly. What's stopping those groups from saying, oh shit, we're losing, let's go storm the field and get this overturned? Nothing. Absolutely
Go
nothing.
buy you a Walmart Polo.
And then what happens is you have the home fans recognizing, hey, these opposing fan bases are going to storm. That leads to fights, and more people are going to get injured.
You know what I did today, boys? I did research on field storming. You know, this job every once in a while.
Topic.
This job every once in a while, I have you in the deep weeds. All right, running down some history of college football. Did you know the first recorded field storming was in 1940, according to the Boston Public Library? Now, checks out that the folks up there, the massholes, would be the first ones to storm a field. It makes sense. Now it checks out. Okay, so we got them in 1940. Now, the first legislation as to when you shouldn't do this was in 1960 because a girl was killed by a falling goalpost. R.I.P. Didn't die on spot. Died later of complications due to the injuries.
That's even worse.
Sounds like she was actually pushed into some situations there as well. Another lawsuit, famous lawsuit in the field storming field of arena, if you will. A dude in 1985 sued the security company of the Patriots Stadium because he was electrocuted while carrying the goalpost into a bunch of power cables.
Did he win
didn't.
this
There's no way he
lawsuit?
won that.
4.5 mil. Yes, sir. 4.5 million. Got that dub in court.
Holy
That
hell.
sounds like we ain't got time for this. Just go ahead and settle.
1998, a girl in Washington State unfortunately cracked her skull and had brain bleeding. She did later recover from her injuries, but immediately after that, they're like, you know what? Collapsible field goal post. Let's not mess with that anymore. And since then, I don't want to say verbatim, but the wiki page says ain't nobody died from a field storming since then. Don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to that. But the wiki page, I would imagine if there was a pretty substantive death, they would have caught up on it. I mean, they even had all the way up to the Vanderbilt Commodore fans taking that field goal post down onto Broadway. So it's been updated, has this wiki page, which makes me to believe it's stone cold fact.
I mean, so what did the research tell you about your opinion of this then?
Why are we being such PUSSIESs about this? Why? What is the big deal? I do want to say this. It's become outrageous. You know, like
I think that's part of what it
when
is.
when you're the 8th ranked team and you beat the 10th ranked team at home, keep your ass in the stands. But if we overcome like a 21 point deficit to win the game, or if we're a 21 point underdog and we come out and win the game, kick 6, something crazy happens, storm the damn field. I mean, let them have it. Pay the $250,000. Like, who cares?
I do agree that it has gotten a little absurd and outrageous of how frequent.
I blame Dabo.
Yeah, I think that kind of has a play in it because they do it after every game. It's tradition. We storm every field after every win, whatever. Continues to be lame. Anyways, I just think like it has gotten a little outrageous of how frequent these field stormings happen. Like I kind of compare it to what Hole 16 at Waste Management has turned into on the PGA Tour, where they used to throw crap onto the green when you hit a hole in one. Now they started doing it when you hit it within 10 feet. Like, we need to dial it back a little bit, all right? There's no need to do it after every cool thing that we think happens. Like, I just think we need to pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is like field storming has become way too casual. And I think that's kind of the issue. Make
storming mean something again.
Like, exactly. And I think the issue that the ADs are kind of getting with is they're getting fined for it now.
Yeah.
Because when Vanderbilt...
You think the $250,000 racks gives them a real sweat?
Probably not, but it's probably more
talking $160 million budgets.
It's probably more of an annoyance.
Yeah.
Who was it that...
It's probably like, damn, that could have gone to a role player's salary.
That's what they say now, but...
Didn't some AD recently say that if you don't storm the quarter of the field, then I'll donate money to the like student scholarship fund or something like that?
I think he does. I think it was Vanderbilt's athletic director at a women's basketball game.
Hey, women's hoops means a lot.
So they was fitting to get ready to storm that sucker. And the AD was like, we appreciate the support for our ladies. We'll give 100 racks to the students. But not directly to you. We'll just pay some books and stuff, you know. We'll finagle some financials on the papers to get that. But I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I do think that if you were to actually make wins and losses, it's so silly to give a whole ass loss to a team because they're fans.
I mean, I get why Alabama's AD's doing it, because I think the last 8 games Bama's lost on the road, the team stormed the field every time.
In hoops or in football?
In football. Like the last times Alabama's lost on the road, which it's taken like 10 years to reach that, like there's been a field storming every time. And you get to do this high and mighty stance of, well, we would never do such a thing, and these things keep happening to us. So I think that you should change the outcome of the game. But you're opening up way more problems. It's the classic example if you're only thinking about yourself.
Chat wants to know if we've addressed the fake injuries. Didn't have to, because I implemented my first ever rule in college football.
Yes.
Isn't that awesome?
We've got that much pull.
We got that much pull. Your boy went viral this year on a simple rule change. You want to fix fake injuries? If you go down with an injury, you have to sit out the rest of the possession. Period. Point blank. And everybody's like, oh, well, what if the guy's healthy? If he's healthy, that's fine. Go evaluate him. He can't come back onto the field that possession. And guess what? I think that's the rule that's officially been. Is that officially been accepted?
I don't know if it's officially, but it sounds like it's
been proposed.
Unofficially, officially.
I'd be shocked if that wasn't a rule in 2025.
So, hey, let's all go on and give them 3. This show making monumental changes in college football. Many a reason to subscribe, that probably being the number 1.
Next up's targeting.
Yeah. Flagrant 1, flagrant 2.
We're coming for that next.
So simple. I don't understand why we've been complaining about that one for 15 years and we haven't gotten it fixed. Any reasons? I
have no idea.
What's even crazier to me is when I talk to college football coaches and I'm like, hey, you were just up at the Football Coaches Association, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, did they let y'all vote on rules? Because they say they do. I'm like, no. I'm like, but they say you're the reason that these rules get implemented. And the coaches are like, I ain't voted on a rule since I started coaching in 10 years. I'm like, what? Who's voting on these then, man? Who's out here putting the rules into place? Because it obviously isn't the coaches, or else some of these things would already been changed.
Maybe a select group of coaches. I don't know.
Deep state. Deep state. That's what it is. The college football deep state.
There's a deep state for everything, man. I can't keep up with all this.
Gotta be. Stay locked on the deep states. Let's transition into the top 5 most exciting things about the offseason, boys. What do you have? I've got a good 5, a good strong 5. Number 5, spring game reactions, both because of playing, right? Like an actual spring game getting played, and then a fan going to Twitter saying that they have the greatest so-and-so of all time, or they're going to be undefeated this year. Just general overreactions from a spring game. I love that, especially in this space. I think the last 3 MVPs of spring games were A.D. Mitchell, Eric Gilbert, and Zacoby White last year.
Jake Pope.
No, Dominic Lovett last year and Jake Pope. That's right. Yeah, so just balling performances in spring game that 100% guarantee success in the fall. Can't wait for that one.
Some Mekhi Muse love in there.
Oh, yes. Give me some Mekhi Muse love in that one. I also love that I've already seen takes on social media about how the sport's dying because we got guys canceling spring games. You know.
Man, R.I.P. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. I love this sport. Think I'll love it forever. But things like this are the reason it's dying in me just a tad bit. I'm like, bro, you were that into I mean, for fuck's sake, Ohio State tagged off in there.
Had a dunk competition
at Ole Miss. Like, if you out here making guaranteed takes or decisions off of spring games.
Spring games, in my opinion, have always served as the equivalent to a dying heroin addict getting a little bit right beforehand, so just to keep them alive through the offseason. Just like, okay, I can watch my team play.
The re-ups coming in August.
Exactly.
Here you go. Exactly. Just hang on to the bottom end.
Just get me through the month. That's exactly what it's always been. And I get that taking that away kind of sucks, but there's so much more access nowadays that you don't need. As far as football goes. No,
I was just thinking like, so you're basically saying spring games are like the Jeebs, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like just you're scraping for scraps, just trying to get to the plug the next week.
Yeah. Speaking of scraping for scraps, that's my number 5, is just watching people kind of just do everything they can to milk content, whether it's like making a top 5 list about how good the offseason is, or just watching Paul Feinbaum go absolutely nuclear on things. He fired the coach who won the national championship this year.
That's a good take by that guy. That was a fire take. Can't wait to
fired
give Paul
2 coaches that made a college football playoff.
Paul Feinbaum
he fired an ACC champ.
Yep.
Preseason. Said he'd never get back to the top.
Yep.
ever. Just content with 9-4 moving forward is Clemson, according to Paul Feinbaum, even though they are like way out in front in terms of heavy favorites to win the ACC again this year. Number 4, let's do this. Let's give me your number 5. What are y'all giggling about?
Weed guy Mike in the chat says it's the college football equivalent of trying to quit nicotine and finding a vape in your couch cushions.
But it's 3/4 empty. Got a little burn to it. What do you got for number 5? I like this. I'll go 4 after you go 5.
All right, number 5, the stories nobody asked for, like the Texas Tech story that we were talking about on Tuesday.
God.
There's always some of these sprinkled in throughout the offseason where it's nobody's asking for information about Texas Tech football or what their NIL department is getting.
None.
But we get them
one.
anyways. Nobody's asking what Shane Beamer's workday looks like for 24 hours in his office and that he doesn't wear shoes. Like, nobody's asking for that, but we get it anyways. And it provides some good content of like, that's kind of funny, or this is stupid as hell. Like, why are we talking about this? Why are we giving this? I just love it. I think it's great.
You said you're going
number 4. NFL Combine should be fun. Still waiting back on that. It's looking like we're good.
Love it.
One of our favorite sources not going to be there this year, though, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, got a wedding to go to. Boo love.
Hey,
collective boo.
He loves that. Every time I talk to that man, he's got another wedding to go to.
I know, he's just super freaking popular.
Hell yeah.
But anyways.
Nice guy.
Yeah, we'll probably bump into some other folks up there in Indianapolis. So excited to do that one this year again.
No doubt.
My number 4 is it forces me to actually enjoy other sports. Right about this time is when the NBA playoffs picks up. I'll say it now, WWE gets pretty interesting that time of year as well. So it kind of makes me go, all right, I have to pay attention to other sports. So it diversifies my portfolio as a sports fan.
How close are we to are we ever going to return to like 90s wrestling?
It's
Ever?
not 90s wrestling, but it's pretty cool.
What they call that, the Attitude Era?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So ain't nobody bringing in like a Budweiser truck with a fire hose on the top of it, dousing the ring. Got that going on.
It's not that anymore. It's more
No 4-wheelers.
There's Brock Lesnar had one a while ago. He drove a tractor into the stadium.
Okay, so Brock's still Attitude Era though.
Yeah, I mean
It's
Brock
like,
Lesnar hasn't fought in a couple of years. It's still fun.
I'm hoping they get me back in, but the only way you can get me back in is the promos. You're out here, if you're
That's the best
dynamite with
part
a
of
mic, bro. If you're dynamite with a mic, that's great. I think they went too far into look how cool these guys are athletically when they wrestle. Look how much cool shit I don't care. Throw the dude through a barbed wire fence and make him bleed, and then grab the microphone and tell him his daddy ain't shit. That's gonna get me to tune.
Yeah, that's what happened to dude. Cody Rhodes threw Kevin Owens through a ladder. Pretty sick. All right, I'll stop nerding out about that.
Number 4?
I have nothing
I'll
to
stop
contribute to
nerding
that. I'll get into this one because I have a different sport that I attach to in the offseason, baseball season. Baseball season, for me, it's perfect because it is an absurdly long season. Like it's 162 games in a regular season.
Are you talking pro baseball?
Pro baseball, college baseball, I'll take anything. I just love baseball in general, but I don't know. I just enjoy going to baseball games. Always something on the TV. I mean, every single day there's baseball games on the TV. It's just the perfect way to time lapse throughout.
Number 3, spring portal window. I hope we have the same exact thing happen where people are out here fear mongering. Just like, it's going to be the craziest
biggest time of the year
college football's ever seen. And then Bear Alexander's going to hit the portal, and that's it. I hope it's just absolutely a dud. Just boring as shit.
Yeah,
Nobody but dudes who lost jobs. That's who I hope's in the portal.
Jeez. I had off-season drama as one of mine as well. It is fun to see, like, oh, snap. Because at least there is one name, at least. There's usually been one name to hit the portal where it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's kind of a big deal. But it's only one. It's not like there's this litany of stars where it's like, oh, my God, the sky is falling. But that's a very interesting one.
I kind of similar to that. I have off-season Twitter beefs. These really start to pick up in the month of January because everybody's just dying for college football to be back. I mean, fan bases or I guess you could get what's his name from Illinois beefing on Twitter.
Oh, Bielema.
Yeah, Bielema. You get some of that.
Yeah.
Coaches have, as you. I guess potty time is what you called it, of let's go sit on the toilet and I can scroll through Twitter and I got time on my hands now. You get some of that, but it's mostly like the fan bases because the takes get outrageous. Everybody's making these absurd predictions. Your program ain't shit, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Like the month of July until the end of August, like the Twitter beefs just are immaculate to scroll through.
I'll add to that. This isn't one of mine, but like the coach content you get, whether it's someone doing something funny with a golf swing, or doing something weird on a beach, or being at a random concert, like the coaches you see where it's like, oh wait, they're normal human beings. That's pretty fun.
It's like seeing your teacher at the grocery store when you're a kid.
So weird.
Whoa,
weird cross.
You actually do something outside of the school.
Weird.
That's crazy.
You don't
Like
live
seeing
here?
Saban in Italy last year. Like,
Yeah, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Looking at the sights, it's like, what's coach doing? You know, he don't give a shit about none of this. He's out here scouting. Number 2 for me, the Elite 11 finals. It's always excited to go out to LA. I feel like it takes, I feel like all these camps take a little bit less and less, they have less and less hype and anticipation around them every year. I hope that's not the case this year. I always go out there and have fun anyways. But every year I hear more and more complaints from other media guys. Oh, this wasn't like it used to be. Yada, yada, yada. I just want to see dudes sling the pill. Excited to do it. I hope the regional is a little bit thicker this year than it was last year here in the state of Georgia, but I don't know if it will be.
Yeah. My number 2, and this is a pretty new one to the list. We get a new college football video game now in the offseason.
Yeah, how much are they going to tax me for that one?
Probably about $80.
80 is usually like a solid 70 now.
And it's
69,
basically just
80.
for new rosters. They're not going to like make a new game, are they?
This one's not going to be like completely revamped.
They're supposed to add a couple new features.
They're definitely switching up some things. There'll be some big changes.
I'll give them 3 games before I'm like, all right, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like we went 12 years without having one. I'm going to buy the next one.
To be honest with you, I don't play it that much.
It's the only video game I play.
Really?
And I don't play video games that much.
I'm a COD guy.
Well, I think
COD's
it kind of
fun.
rotates for me. Like during college football season, I play a lot of college football. During the off season, play some Call of Duty, play some 2K, all the good stuff, MLB The Show. But then like June hits, playing college football again because I want it back.
Every now and again, I'll hop on Guitar Hero.
I don't know why, but I don't like recruiting in those games. I find it to be...
Well, once you figure it out, it just is like, all right, this is easy.
Apparently haven't figured it out.
It's tedious.
Aren't you supposed to like send the house on their visit or something like that?
Well, it's like when they get to certain levels, you got to change it to like, high
Oh, you
sell.
cheat?
No, you don't cheat. You just like, there's a scheme to it. But once you figure out the scheme, you can land anybody and everybody.
Yeah, I think I'd just rather go 24-18 on Rust. Call it a day. You know?
24-18?
Hey, it's a little optimistic. A little optimistic.
That's a good day.
That's a good day. Back it up, man. I just want to be slightly above average in COD and call it a day. Just play for about 45 minutes, go to sleep.
24-18, no points on the point. Number
Zero.
2.
No objective
No
points.
objective points.
0 objective points.
Strictly me ball around here.
Guy. Me guy.
Number 2 for me is the content freedom specifically for us. Exactly what we just did.
Yeah.
During the season, we're not talking about playing video games for a solid 2 minutes or whatever it was just now because we feel like we got to keep moving because there's such like we have news that we have to get through. We got to get to predictions. We got to get to injury reports, whatever it is. The content freedom, like I just enjoy it because it does feel like more of a hangout setting. I think that's kind of what we do.
We laugh way harder in the offseason than we do during the regular season. I wonder if the audience does as well. I know we have more fun. It's harder doing this offseason stuff, but I feel like we have more fun at the end of the day. Laugh. My ribs started to hurt towards the end of it. I don't know if the audience feels that way, though. I hope that they do. Otherwise, we just talked about COD for 5 minutes for no reason. But retention numbers looking strong, so we must have been all right. Number 1. Are we at number 1?
You are at number 1?
SEC Media Days being in Atlanta is
Thank
such
goodness.
a dub. Such
That's
a
exciting.
dub, man. Wow. I mean, we had to go to Nashville a couple years ago. Nashville, a vibe. A scene. An absolute scene was Nashville. Then we went to Dallas last year. Was I by myself?
You were by
I
yourself.
was. I went to Dallas last year by myself. 'Twas not a vibe. In Atlanta this year, this is such an inside joke that it's
Painfully inside.
I'm painfully inside.
I don't think anyone other than the 3 of us know about this.
No,
That's okay.
Well,
it was
no,
worth it.
There's a fourth.
There's a 4th person.
They may not even
They
know.
probably don't even know.
Probably not. Probably do now. But yeah, Nashville is a vibe. Dallas, nah. This year, excited for it to be back in College Football Hall of
Because
Fame.
I can go home after it's over.
Yeah. I can hop in the truck, drive about an hour and 5 to Mama's basement.
Yeah, that being back at, I think I know.
Oh,
that
damn, we're going to do shows on them, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
And you guys should be approved this year.
Hopefully.
If not, we riot. You hear that, Chuck Dunlap?
We'll storm the field. We're going to
Storm
the media days.
storm the media
We're gonna
days.
storm Hall of Fame.
Oh my gosh.
That'll be good stuff.
My number one was NFL Combine and Draft. The NFL Draft.
You really like that, huh?
Yeah. The Combine was fun, but the draft has kind of become like a pseudo hangout session as well for sports.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all relevant things happening, and it's very interesting to see all, which teams go where, which players, sometimes there's big trades, sometimes it's like, that's kind of like a very chill night for sports. I look forward to it.
We love a good chill night in sports. I don't love that everybody requires us to do watch-along live streams during that one. I'm going to be honest. The NFL watch-along live stream on an NFL draft after like the first 14 picks is like...
It's very taxing.
We have how much time left on this one? And we can't... Like, I think last year we watched huddle tapes.
Yeah, well, it was me and
Just
you.
to have
Christian
some-
had a flat tire.
Oh, that's
So it's
right.
just me and you. And we would talk about the pick, go watch the high school tape because we couldn't watch the college tape, and then just fill space until the next pick was in.
Now, if Exos would like become a partner of this show and allow us to watch college tape during it, I would spend 15 hours per player going through their film, pulling clips, having a 90-second little upload for you guys right there on the film when they get drafted, show you what they are, show you what they're good at, show you what they're bad at. We can't do that stuff. Exos will flip their wig in the middle of our live stream, so we can't do that. But I wish we could, honestly. I wish we could do a little Mel Kiper, break out the Miami of Ohio tape for that draft pick who, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? One of those.
My number one was nice and simple, free weekends. Just I get to choose what I want to do.
That is kind of nice.
Guy just wants to be a bum. His favorite thing is that I don't have to work.
I don't consider going to football games.
Going to football
as work.
games didn't work. It's just like,
Now, that I don't mind it from you guys because I know your work. I know how you work on game days because I know you work with me. My biggest pet peeve in this sport is when people, or in this industry, is when people treat game days like it's a fun experience for them. They just get a special
Yeah, like
ticket.
you're going as a fan.
Yeah, they just get a good ticket for the house.
Here for the IG
and they
post.
don't work. They don't produce articles. They're just sitting up in the box live. Like, bro, you don't like. It bugs me when I go see people who we share the same job and we don't approach it the same way. You're approaching it like this is a vacation day for you and you get a free ticket while the rest of us are out here like really grinding it, trying to maximize it.
Honestly, I ain't mad about it. That just means more people are reading our stuff and not yours.
You're right. You're right. I shouldn't be mad about it. But I believe that this is a special fraternity.
Yeah.
It's a very special thing that we get to do. Okay, so when you just show up and mail it in, I had a beat reporter who shall remain unnamed the rest of this time. Okay, I had a beat reporter during G-Day last year. There was a running clock in the second half, and I heard, "Oh my God, I'm so happy that we're not going to be here the full length." And I turned around and literally told him, "Get the fuck away from me, get the fuck away from me." Because what do you mean? What do you mean you're happy that the time got cut short on one of the only days we get to cover football? We get 17 of these, 18 if you make all the games and G-Day.
And like one during the spring where you get to see the team.
Yeah.
Outside
And you're
of, like,
there
Yeah.
for the first time back inside Sanford Stadium in 4 months. Oh, I'm so glad there's a running clock.
Sometimes get some nice spring weather.
Smack the shit out of you. Who are the happiest fan bases in college football right about now, boys?
so happiness is a metric that I think is kind of measured by your expectations. Obviously, there's a couple of fan bases out there that feel like they should be competing for national titles. There's a lot of fan bases. There's some teams that do compete for national titles. I would say that your Ohio States are one of them. I would say Notre Dame is very, very happy following what their 2024 season was. Beat Georgia, beat big name programs, had a really, really good regular season.
Oh.
Nice. I had to stop and watch that one. Had a really, really good regular season. Went to the national title, lost a couple. You retained your head coach. You had a really, really good season. They're a very happy fan base. I think even Michigan you could put in this. They're fresh out. They are 1 year removed from a national title in a year where everything was supposed to be a down year. You beat your arch rival.
The year they won a title.
Your absolute most hated rival in a year that they were supposed to kill you. You beat them at home, and then you beat Alabama to close out the season. Like, that's a really good season for everything that's happened.
For as crappy as your season was, that's a really good season.
I think Michigan fans are pretty happy. I also think that you can put Syracuse fans on this list.
I think Michigan fans are on there for a whole nother reason. They got did you mention the 5-star quarterback they got coming in?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
You know, they paid $15 million for him, or 12, I think it was. But hey, got him in. Also got to be really happy that one of the richest men alive's wife happens to just so happen to be a Wolverine fan and didn't know until she won a title that it mattered to her. And then she's like, I can't go another day without my husband spending billions to make this team good.
What a fan.
Good for them.
What a fan.
Yeah.
Team that made my list was Syracuse. This has got to feel like cloud nine for Syracuse fans. I don't even know what your type of expectations are as an Orange fan or what, but getting a 10-win season in your first year under Fran Brown, you defeated Miami. You basically ruined any hopes that they had a postseason play. You had some big signature moments, and I think you had people like glued in some of your football games to watch Kyle McCord or whoever else. So I think that they have to be one of the happiest fan bases because they kind of feel some relevancy.
Does South Carolina fit into this?
No.
Why?
Because South Carolina is
skeptical.
Not even that. South Carolina probably looks back at their 2024 season and goes, damn, if we didn't get hosed by LSU or if we played a little better against Ole Miss, we'd be a playoff team. And oh, by the way, your season ended with a really bad taste in your mouth. That loss to Illinois.
Bro, they ain't won 9 games since Spurrier.
Yeah, but when the prompt of, hey, you could have been a playoff team is 2 spots away, or
that's one of those expectations.
A BS deals. Playoff call away, or a BS PI call away, like that kind of puts a damper on your season.
Plus, I feel like South Carolina's been in this position before recently. I feel like they've been in this exact same position before.
We might be talking about that next at interviews, Coach. So you just going to put a pin in that one. Notre Dame fans?
For sure. Absolutely.
Got to be,
for
right?
For sure. You played it at kind of.
Chat's first suggestion was Arizona State.
That's a good one.
Arizona State got a football coach there that you don't think's ever going to leave either. You know, do you think's a really, really good football coach? He's gone to a college football playoff in year 2 as a head football coach. So he's passed the year 3 rule test around here with flying colors. He's already in it. He's already in the confirmed, you're a good football coach. And like I said, alma mater, not leaving. I don't see Kenny Dillingham leaving Arizona State for anything other than an NFL job.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that's got to make you feel really good.
That's as good as it gets for an Arizona State fan. This is the newest addition to this list. North Carolina fans. They've got to be they've got to be the happiest fans right now, or like the happiest they have been in a while.
You've been seeing that hoops team.
It's bad. I mean, that's
the worst North Carolina hoops team I've seen in my life.
Yeah, like 500 right now. So yeah. Bill Belichick, be our savior.
That's one of them fan bases that's like personal identity is wrapped in we're good at hoops.
Yeah.
If you ain't got we're good at hoops, you really ain't got nothing going on in North Carolina. Not even good at baseball anymore. Remember that? They used to be like top 5 in baseball every single year. I don't even think they're that anymore. So interesting. Interesting times in North Carolina where the football team's the one.
Hey. I think we should put Indiana on this list.
They're on my list.
I mean, Kurt Cignetti staying, the season you had, the I'm him attitude. Now, granted, your playoff exit was kind of ugly, but you made the freaking playoff.
And you got Mendoza coming in, baby.
Oh, tell him about him, Jay.
Fernando Wagon, stand up.
Fernando Mendoza. Don't even get me started right now. You're gonna get me riled up.
Oh, Tyler looks like Fernando. Fernando looks like Tyler Mendoza.
I can't believe we haven't.
Auburn is expected to hire Georgia Southern's general manager.
Okay,
bro, I'm gonna tell you right now. I think I would smoke a general manager interview. I think I would. Tell me I need to have a plethora of a background in relationship management. I think I can do that. I got to be able to identify and attract really good football players. I think I can do that. And all you really got to do is be able to schmooze boosters. Is what it seems like. Give me one of those.
You know what? Good idea. I'll have you play a general manager later in the show.
Okay.
See, we'll test your skills out a little bit.
Well, all I need to get an ESPN biopic written on me is a billionaire who builds me a $250 million facility and then gives me $10 million to go buy 17 transfers from NIU. And then I'm hired by Notre Dame, but I'm going to turn them down and have ESPN write a pub piece on me. Even though I only went 8-5 at Texas Tech last year.
Yeah.
Can't be that hard.
Well, I guess not.
So I want you to do a segment on this. Oh, we did that yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. If you don't know, we did that Tuesday. If you don't know, Texas Tech's general manager has prepped the world for Red Raider domination. Okay, they're sweeping the land this year. They're going to wax the ass of every Big 12 team that there is. They dream of a Big 12 championship in Lubbock, and the dream is you don't have to wait around anymore. It's happening this year. That was the final quote in a 5,000-word pub piece on Texas Tech's general manager.
Off-season content.
Who else is happy? Do we have any more?
That was my list.
The Vanderbilt Commodores are happy.
Just happy with that one Bama win?
You beat Alabama.
Yeah, you beat Alabama. It's the greatest win in history of Vanderbilt athletics. And they've won national titles.
You beat Alabama.
Yeah.
And you put up a fight against Texas.
I don't think Georgia fans are happy.
I don't think they're unhappy. I don't think they're one of the happiest programs right now.
I don't think Texas fans are happy.
They're happier than Georgia fans, I think, which ironically enough.
Because of Arch.
Well, Texas fans are more optimistic than they are happy.
Yeah.
Optimistic that Arch Manning is going to be the one.
Well, that and also, like, you have that our first year in the SEC, we went to the championship. We made it all the way to the Final Four of the college football playoff. Like, we're here to stay. Things are only getting better. Like, we're on the up. Our quarterback situation is only going to get better. We have Sark. Like, I think Texas is happier than Georgia right now.
Yeah. I also think Texas finally feels like they have their coach for the first time since Mac left there in 2011.
Yes.
Yeah.
They went Charlie Strong.
Tom Herman.
Oh, dipshit.
Tom Herman.
There was someone in between that, though.
Was there?
Dang,
I thought it was Charlie Strong.
Charlie Strong was there for like 5 years.
Sarkisian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave Herman a run there for a while. So I think they're happy on that end.
For sure.
And everything that was negative about that place that we saw when we went to Austin.
Yep.
When we went to Austin, all being rebuilt. That indoor practice facility torn to the ground, building a new one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they've got all of the. I guess they waited for all of their facility upgrades until the SEC money came in.
Makes sense.
Kind of smart. So yeah, I think they're really happy right about now. LSU fans.
No, they're not on that list.
No.
USC fans, far from this.
No.
How about Florida fans? Florida fans are probably in another category of optimistically hopeful.
Yeah.
I don't think you can tell a Florida Gator fan base to be happy looking at like 15 years ago where you were and where you are now.
Yeah.
Like, and that just shows how bad that program has been for years, where it's like, holy shit, we went 8-4. Like, that's
the craziest part about Florida's deterioration over the last decade, apart from the end of the Jimbo run down at Florida State, they haven't had an in-state rival that's worth a shit in 20 years. When was the last time Miami was competing for national titles? This last year?
Last year.
First time since 2005?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go almost 20 years without Miami being good, and we had that one stint with Urban Meyer that we were good, and we can't figure out the last decade when everyone else has been down, we can't figure out how to get back up with that in-state talent. Now, this is obviously changed. Like, I don't think Urban in the late 2000s, early 2010s, I think is when he was there. I don't think he had the problem with the likes of Nick Saban coming in as much and Kirby Smart coming in as much and all these national powerhouse programs coming down to Florida and recruiting. In Urban Meyer's era, Jeremiah Smith's probably a Florida Gator, not an Ohio State Buckeye, right? But I think you could say the same about Miami being down. Like, Jeremiah Smith's from 10 miles up the road from Miami, from Coral Gables, and didn't end up there. So I do think they are optimistic because of the quarterback and knowing they got 2 years, but that's a tight window, to be successful. What about Tennessee fans?
No, I think the excitement and the newness of the hype layer has kind of worn off now, and people are starting to be like, okay, you had the great year in 22, and it's been pretty disappointing after that. And it feels like you've gotten slowly a little bit worse every year.
Well, and I feel like they're kind of at this spot in his tenure at Tennessee where it feels like the same things keep occurring. Your two best years where you beat Alabama, you have a shot against Georgia. Both times against Georgia don't go well. You make the college football playoff for the first time. You get absolutely boat raced by Ohio State.
Air sick dog in here. I know you're a dog fan. But I want to address, if you're out on Nico, you watched the wrong football last year, in my opinion. Okay, and you guys come here because it's on the title. It's the film says Nico played out of his mind most of the year last year, and just managed to survive behind an offensive line that couldn't do shit and a wide receiver core that was constantly banged up. I thought without Nico, they are not a playoff team.
Yeah,
No.
but
Not even close.
No.
I agree, but I think it's also the results and the expectations of what he was going to be weren't there. Now, it was external
Is he
factors.
an $8 million quarterback? He didn't look like that last year.
Yeah.
It was external factors also that caused him to not be that. But when you come in and say like, this is the greatest quarterback Tennessee football, this is the next Peyton Manning, and then it delivers like, he was good statistically last year, but it wasn't like it felt like he elevated the team. Like, yeah, you're going to start losing a lot of hype.
All right, we're going to skip exit interviews tonight and go straight to grade the takes and the to-do list on Ole Miss. We'll do our exit interviews with Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian tomorrow night. Actually, it's with
Monday
Shane
night.
Beamer and Steve Sarkisian Monday night.
Yeah.
My bad. All right, let's grade the takes. So here's how this is going to go. We are trying to establish a take here in February. We will establish a grading system on that take 1 through 5. If the take hits at the end of the year, you get the points. If it misses, you get subtracted the points.
Correct.
Okay? So it behooves you to be kind of mid-takey here, something that's going to hit about a 3, kind of hot. Maybe balance the take strategy out. We'll figure out how it plays. I got 3 to start just to kind of give you how this game's going to work as an audience. I got a hot take, a mid take, and a guaranteed take. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Hot take. I think DJ Lagway is going to be the best quarterback in the SEC next year.
That's a solid 4.
Ooh,
Give me
I
a 4 on that.
Like if you
I'd give that a 4.
Yeah, I think there's some other options where if you would have said this SEC quarterback is the best, that's a 5.
Like a Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, like a Lenore Sellers, if he's the best quarterback in the conference, that would be a 5. And I think you could go off some other names, but a DJ Lagway, that feels like a solid 4. Like still crazy to think
4.
about.
I mean, but he was the number 1 overall ranked quarterback coming out of high school. And we've seen 7 games. We know he's talented.
But I think the comp and the conference too makes that still a hot take of he hasn't even had a full season or anything.
Correct. And it's also everyone's kind of looking at Arch to be that guy. So
All right, my mid take. You ready?
what do you got?
Actually, this one's the 1 take.
Okay.
This is the bottom of the barrel.
All right.
I think Oregon goes undefeated in the regular season.
Yeah, that's a layup right there.
13-0. That's about as a layup as it gets. Give me a 1. And then my mediocre take right here. I think Missouri's going to be awful this year. Like 7-5 bad. Okay, not like 6-6 bad because the schedule is what the schedule is this year for them. But I think Missouri's going to be really bad this year.
It wasn't even that good last year.
I could see them going 7-5 this year.
Yeah.
I would give it a. That's a very easy schedule, though. I mean, you can. There's 75% of SEC teams.
They can mid their way to 8-4.
Let me put it
They can
this way.
sleepwalk to 8-4. I'm gonna go 3 on it.
Name me one player on Missouri's roster right now.
Williams.
Besides someone, no, he's not on the roster.
Oh, that's
Doing
right.
Nebraska.
Besides
Oh, shit.
Damon Wilson right now. Name me one Missouri football player.
I know this because I looked it up. I know their starting quarterback.
Okay.
Bo Prisbilla, the transfer from Penn State who couldn't
Okay.
beat out Drew Aller.
Not moving the needle.
Nah?
No.
What about Sam Horn, the backup?
No.
No?
No, not really.
How about this one? They took Jimmy Williams, a transfer from West Virginia. Do you even know what position he plays? Johnny Williams, excuse me.
Sounds like some linebacker.
He's from Northeast Macon. That's why I know him. Played 17 real strong games at West Virginia
Don't know.
at tackle.
Ah.
Started 2 last year, including the bowl game. Played well. And Missouri's like, I got to have him. He hit the portal 2 days after.
Proving my point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got 8 total points listed up for this week. So hopefully 3 in the season, and I'll keep a tally on them. What hits,
Please
what
do.
doesn't.
Please do.
Don't worry, I've got. This
Okay,
far.
you're locking them in.
Don't worry.
All right, let's go. Who's
you
got to
got,
rate the
J-Lo?
tape?
All right. The SEC is going to go an entire offseason game without a single head coach getting fired.
That's 5. There's no way.
I'll give it a 5.
Let me put, and I want to lay this
Give
out.
me the reasons why.
Yeah, I have some reasons why. First off, I think that this is going to play a role. The schedules are changing up, so you're going to get a fresh schedule. So, like a Billy Napier, even if it was a somewhat disappointing year, he would be able to say, "Well, we're not going to have this as difficult of a schedule. We might get some leeway here." DJ Lagway's coming back. I think you could find some buying time for him. Sam Pittman could fall into this argument as well of, "Hey, our schedule's going to shook up a little bit." I think that would play a role in maybe wanting to keep some coaches of like if they had a rough year, had a really tough schedule. Hey, next year's probably not going to be as difficult. I think that could play in this conversation. And this is the biggest point for me. Who's leaving for jobs in the SEC right now to be a head coach? Because I can't really think of any. Signetti in years prior would have been one of these, but he's staying at Indiana. Rhett Lashley would have been leaving SMU maybe to go to be in the SEC.
5 years ago.
He's not doing that anymore. Kenny Dillingham, maybe 5 years ago, would be leaving Arizona State to try and get in the SEC if that job came open. I don't really see any of these guys leaving these other jobs in the Big 12 or the Big 10.
Jed Fish, a Florida alum out there at Washington.
Okay.
That's it.
You make a good point, and I think that the demand to go to the SEC has kind of shrunk, especially with this expanded playoff system. But I don't see how not a single coach gets fired this year. Like Kentucky came off a horrible year. Like there's so many teams.
I'll tell you why. Rev share model. I got $20.5 million hitting my books in 6 months.
That should have been 0.1 for me.
The last thing I want to be doing is paying Mark Stoops $20 million to leave because he baited me into thinking he's going to Texas A&M 2 years ago.
And I think that I think there's a lot of coaches right now that are in like interesting points in their careers where you're kind of getting out of like Venables gets a lot of heat, but even he, he's still relatively new there. I don't know if you want to go ahead and can that one to try and find a new guy to come to Oklahoma. Sam Pittman's about the only coach, and he's on this list every single freaking year, it seems like, yet they continue to hold on to him. And I feel like you're kind of getting at a point with Sam Pittman where the more and more you hold on to him, the less fireable he gets, in my opinion, because you've kind of shown that you're acceptive of what his standard of Arkansas football is, and I think they are consistently that type of standard of they're not going to be contending for an SEC title, but they're going to be a fun team to watch. Like they're a team every single weekend where you say, hey, upset alert, whoever's got Arkansas at home this week, you might be in some trouble because they do have some exciting players on the roster and they do hit the portal relatively hard. Like, I just think that you're getting at some interesting points. Hugh Freeze, I guess, would be one also. Like, if you crap the bed again this year, but even he has Deuce Knight. Like, there's so many reasons, if you go around the SEC of why so-and-so should remain.
All right. What's your second take, J-Will?
That was it.
He's going 5 points. That's it.
Shooting high, baby.
I've got one. Sam Pittman, Mark Stoops, Mike Norvell will not be coaching at their respective
the antithesis. Mike Norvell?
So the take doesn't hit unless all three get fired?
Correct.
Well, that's a 5.
That's a 5 then.
That's a 5.
Really?
Yeah.
All three?
Dude, they owe Norvell $80 million.
Yeah.
Bro, if they go...
They owe that man money through 2036, I believe.
They go 4-8, though.
No, they were 2-9.
They were 2-10 this year. If they go 4-8 this year, like, oh, you won 2 more games, and you like, tell me, convince me that Florida State's going to win 5 more games than they won last year.
You're not high on the Squirrel White signing.
Convince me that Florida State team got 5 wins better in the
No
offseason.
Castellanos?
Not big on the Castellanos.
No.
My favorite. Speaking of WWE, there was our friends over at in the Florida State circle had a Twitter. What do you call those things? Space. Twitter Space.
They do
when they announced that they were firing their offensive coordinator, and there was rumors that they were going to hire the fun and gun guy from UNLV and then bring in Thomas Castellanos. And this Florida State fan hopped in there with the greatest promo of "I hate my own team" that I've ever heard. It was quintessential, like premier gold standard radio call-in stuff. It was basically like, man, I'm really, really excited to watch Thomas Castellanos throw 27 picks in the fun and gun next year. Sign me up. Can't wait.
All right, my last
The
take
schedule is really tough.
Florida State's?
Yeah, so maybe this is an excuse of why you could have a sucky season again. They start out with Alabama. And then they have Miami a couple weeks later. They have at Clemson a couple weeks after that. And then they finish the season at Florida.
4 L's.
Yeah.
You're like 8-4 right now.
You're 8-4 off rip.
Off rip.
And then there's some NC State, Virginia Tech mixed in.
Mike Norvell's good.
Hey, but you're going to get East Texas A&M.
Hell yeah.
Week 2.
Hey, I don't know. They sweated Coastal.
Thank God.
They sweated Memphis last year. They lost to Memphis at home.
Last one I've got is, and this one's a absolute layup take. The Heisman returns to the quarterback next year.
I'll give you a 1.
Yeah, figured.
A 1, yeah. I'll go 1.
All right,
So
to-do list.
6 points up. J-Will's got 5, and you've got 8.
That's all I need.
All right, to-do list. We got Ole Miss on the board today. Let's talk about what they've got to get done this year. Now, I'm going into this with expectations of 8-4. Like, if you go 9-3, hats off, Lane Kiffin. I think you did a tremendous job. Okay, just lost way too much from a year ago, starting quarterback included, and that leads into my number one thing they've got to do. They've got to get Austin Simmons through the growing pains. This system, I think it's misconstrued. I think most people think it's really quarterback friendly. I think they think it's, you're going to pass, you're going to put up a lot of stats, and you're going to do well. They do. The quarterbacks play well in this system, but not without a bunch of turnovers year one. Matt Corral had 14 interceptions in year one. I think he threw 5 in his last year. Jackson Dart threw 11 interceptions in his first year starting at Ole Miss, threw 11 combined in the last 2 years. So you're going to go through a tremendous amount of growing pains right here. So says the history. So how can you get Austin Simmons through that kind of down spill, or can we at least avoid the historical trend of our guy's going to throw it to the other team a shitload the first time he starts for us? Number 2, can they get back to running the football? What?
Jay Will's out here being an instigator in the chat.
Are you still not beating the allegations?
No, I don't think I'm ever going to beat him.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Number 2, can he get back to running the football successfully and consistently without the quarterback? The last 2 years, watching Ole Miss, if they needed to run the football, it was, let's pray Jackson Dart doesn't die on this quarterback design run right now.
Or let's put our defensive lineman in.
Yeah.
Get it in the end zone.
Let's put all 84 back there and let him run around. Can we establish some type of traditional running game? I think people thought even Judkins' last year there, he was banged up most of the year. They could not run the football successfully up front. So I want to see that. Way too many negative runs on first downs with a first-year starter at quarterback. That's a bad recipe. Number 3, are your receivers actually going to hit? Like, I liked Caleb Odom. I thought Caleb Odom did good stuff based off what I heard at Alabama, but he transferred out of Alabama after 1 year with no real statistical production at all. This guy from Oklahoma State that they signed had about 800 yards last year in the Big 12. We'll see. Can that speedster from Penn State figure it out? They signed that number 6 from Penn State. A bunch of guys that they're going to need to play real snaps for them this year, and going to have to be able to be productive after all the losses that they've had at the wide receiver position. I do love Caden Lee, number 19 for them. It's a kid out of Kennesaw Mountain. The most natural hands I've ever seen from any football player. Now, the only problem is about 5'11", about 180 pounds, but is a really good route runner and is a dependable hands catcher. So also a pupil of one Terrence Edwards here in the state of Georgia.
The academy.
So that's a big question for me. Can you guys actually get those guys to hit? Also took a guy by the name of Deuce Hilton out of Wake Forest. Deuce's dad, Hilton Alexander. Let's say took Deuce Alexander, not Deuce Hilton. Deuce Alexander, his dad goes by the name of Route God here in Atlanta. Big time wide receiver specialist. I do like the Alexander ad there. Number 4, can you recruit inside the top 15 this cycle without top 15 expectations, right? I think, they have relied upon the portal quite a bit. Everyone knows this about them, but I thought they used last year's success to actually try to have some success on the high school trail. And in order for Lane to have sustained success at Ole Miss, not these, hey, can we get a good roster together and pray we make it to a playoff? For him to have sustained success, I think he's got to have a lot more success on the high school recruiting trail, despite the fact that I don't think they're going to be a college football playoff football team this year. I could be wrong about that, but I just don't think those are the expectations for Ole Miss this year. And number 5, can you put a defensive backfield together? Yeah. I looked at it today. They are going 5 for 5. You know, 5 brand new football players in the back end at the defensive back positions. That is a dangerous recipe. We saw it early to start the year with Oregon. They struggled to stop people from scoring on them because they were trying to get continuity put together.
Based on what you just said, I only have one thing on my list left, and it's nice and simple. I need Lane Kiffin to stop being the 2021 Atlanta Braves Will Smith of college football. Just a quick reference here. Will Smith was very up and down as a closer for the Braves in the regular season. Then it got to postseason, and he was lights out. Didn't give up a single run in the entire playoffs. That's been Lane Kiffin. It's, hey, we're going to lose to Kentucky, but we're going to beat Georgia. That's just kind of been the antithesis. Like, we're great in the big games now, which wasn't always the case, but now we're crap in the bed against teams we should definitely be beating. Like, we got to figure out how to fix that, especially when we have a roster as good as they were last year.
I just have two things to go off of basically everything you said. One, figure out a way to replace more than 30 games of starting quarterback. We kind of touched on that with Jackson Dart leaving. Two, keep any high-profile job in the SEC from coming open because Lane Kiffin will take that shit immediately. And then I actually have three.
Which job was it?
Any high profile, any high profile, whether Georgia or Tennessee or Ole Miss or Bama come open.
I don't think he goes to USC if they fire Lincoln.
That's not high profile.
He kind of got left on a tarmac out there.
Yeah,
Probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh no, he was left on a tarmac in Oakland, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. No, he was left on the tarmac at USC.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But
good times.
Is that even high profile?
I mean, he was like 30 at the time.
And then the last one is beat 3 of these 5 teams: LSU, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi State. If you don't beat those 3 teams, you're in big trouble. Like that is your must this season. You can lose 2 of those games, but
I want to give a quick shout out. We'll do it at the top of the hour. We'll talk to you guys in just a short second. We got our local hour coming up right now.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You like that? You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another hour here, and it is our local hour. We got the best dogs to wear 93 through 90. Who are some former dogs you actually want to see win a Super Bowl? Kamari Lassiter gives UGA a gift, and it's led me to believe that I might have a plan. NFL Combine invites were out. No Dan Jackson, no Chaz Chambliss. We'll talk about that tonight, as well as give you our annual full Combine predictions. Going to go through all of the invitees, tell you what we expect out of them in Indianapolis, where we hope to be in attendance in just a couple of weeks. James Cook seeking a massive extension. We're going to play a little dogs to the Falcons. Okay, so I'm going to put my resident sorry sucker of a Falcons fan over here and make him sell me on Georgia players. And I'm going to be Terry Fontenot. Is that guy's
Correct.
name? Yeah. I'm going to be Terry Fontenot tonight. All right, so we'll see how that goes out. But first and foremost, I'm going to give a shout-out to our friends over at Better. How about that? 4 for 4 this week. Shout-out to our friends over at Better. If you have not checked out Better already, you need to be doing so. Use promo code Brooks. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $200 over there. Again, that promo code is Brooks. All you got to do, enter more than or less than key stats on key players in key games. And, of course, they have basketball loading up. They got college basketball, I'm pretty sure, on there as well. So head over to Better and hang out with us and get in on the action. Again, that promo code is indeed Brooks. Let's start with this NFL Combine news, boys. Dan Jackson and Chaz Chambliss absolutely snubbed from the NFL Combine list. Ridiculous.
First, Chaz Chambliss, I could somewhat understand, despite the fact that he's a 3-year starter on one of the best defenses in college football statistically. That's insane. But Dan Jackson was a guy who I felt like got a lot of buzz, made a lot of plays this year, did a lot of really good things in the Senior Bowl. So for him not even receive an invite either tells me that scouts and teams kind of already know the profile of him and they don't really need to do it, or he's just getting criminally overlooked.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the latter there, in my opinion, because, if that were the case, if they already know everything, then I feel like some of these high-profile athletes wouldn't be getting invites if that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
But it feels like to earn an invite to the NFL Combine, you have to do exactly what Dan Jackson did over his entire career. You start multiple years for a really good program, you make impactful plays, you go and do the Senior Bowl thing, you get voted as an MVP of your unit by your fellow players, and then you get an invite to the NFL Combine. I feel like Chaz Chambliss fits into this as well. Started multiple years at Georgia, made impactful plays. I feel like those guys always get NFL Combine invites.
He had NFL Hall of Famers saying, that guy's going to play on Sundays.
Yeah. Talking about the Shannon Sharp clip.
Yeah, Shannon and Chad Ochocinco.
I just don't understand, and this really hurts Dan, because Dan would have went up there and defied all of the questions about him as a football player. Like, it is what it is. You're a white safety. You're going to get questions about your athleticism. It's right or wrong, whatever. The tape says he's a freak athlete. The measurements say he's a freak athlete. But I thought Dan had an opportunity to go to the NFL Combine, measure in north of 6 foot, measure in north of 190 pounds, and run sub 4.48. All right? And that would have just... oh, he can run, and then everybody would have been done with it. Now, you can say that the pro day's still there, and it is. And I don't think Dan's going to go undrafted. I think Dan's going to be fine because the tape is what the tape is, right? The NFL still needs guys that can run the alley and play run support, and this is what this guy is. On top of the fact that it'll be a heat-seeking missile on special teams in an era of NFL football where special teams plays become more and more apparent and more important. Shut up. I just think this was a miss. Now, he's not the only one. Apparently, Shiloh Sanders didn't get an invite.
That's also kind of crazy. Now, I also saw this thing, too, honestly, where last year there were 26 defensive linemen that received an invite to the NFL Combine. They invited 41 defensive linemen this year to the NFL Combine.
It's definitely, it probably is a priority thing as well. I
think it's what the NFL asks. Mm-hmm. The NFL sends them the list of prospects they want to see.
So, right, that's what I'm saying. Like, the teams are prioritizing, like, hey, we need better interior defensive line play. Like, you feel like you can, like, and I don't know if this is actually what it is, but, like, you feel like you can find safeties dime in a dozen, and if one guy doesn't work, or defensive backs at least, and if one guy doesn't work out, you can just sign another one.
I just really hate it for him.
Oh, I do too.
It feels like you already had to be a walk-on to get to a spot at Georgia. Not even one where they recruited you. We're like, hey, we like you a little bit. We want you to come be a walk-on. Like, you went and tried out to be a walk-on at the University of Georgia. Get to a starting spot. It feels like he finally did enough in his career to make some waves to where he could finally earn something and earn this type of invite, and still being overlooked despite the fact that he was arguably the most consistent player on Georgia's defense this past season. Like, every single Saturday, you weren't hearing, oh, Dan Jackson had a really bad game this week. Like, you heard that about some really important players on Georgia's defense. Never once were those words uttered about Dan Jackson.
I think Mississippi State, he had a bad game.
Yeah, and I think he missed
a bad game.
And he missed a tackle that game. Yeah. And that was kind of like,
Dan Jackson sucked.
Not typical Dan.
All right, I want to handle some of these super chubs before we get into the actual guessing of 40 times. William Hawthorne says, keep up the great work, guys. What is the most important thing an interior offensive lineman should have? Says brute strength, lateral quickness, etc. For me, violence and a fight to finish. Like, if you're playing in the SEC at guard, I know you're already, like, all of them are north of 6'4". All of them are north of 300 pounds. They're all big and physical. They're all able to play the position. What separates offensive and particularly interior offensive linemen for me is how good you are in the run game. We don't have a lot of defensive tackles right now in the SEC that are going to be getting loose on you in pass protection. So most guys get good grades in pass protection. What separates a good offensive lineman in the interior from the great is that run game ability, right? Being able to consistently reset the line of scrimmage. And that, for me, like I said, comes from violence, and it comes from a willingness to fight to finish. Those are the things that I'm looking for in interior offensive linemen. Obviously, lateral quickness is important. Things like that. How smart you are is more important, in my opinion, on the interior of the offensive lineman than it is at tackle. At tackle, it can become really a one-on-one game. Stay in front of that guy, move that guy off the point. On the interior of the offensive line, there's a lot more rapport that is required between you and the guy next to you, and some of that requires a lot more balanced mental intellect of the game of football. All right, let's go on to our next one. Flying Hawaiian says, do we still have more of the QB film breakdowns in the clip? Loved watching those so far. And you're the only one.
Yeah, we talked about that during our Q&A.
We talked about that during Q&A yesterday. I love doing them, so maybe I'll just do them to do them. But that's not a good business strategy.
No.
It's not a good business strategy. And here's the deal. Our standard for film study this season was 10,000 views within 24 hours. If we did something on film, 9 times out of 10, we would do 10,000 views on this channel within 24 hours of posting that video. I don't think those 3 quarterback videos we produced combine for 10,000 videos a month out. So it's just not something that you guys as a collective are watching, and we do what you guys want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, plus in the mornings, we're sitting in here cranking articles, making sure our sites are doing good. But when we do a film study, we got to take out an hour of writing articles to do film. So we got to make sure that, that subsidizes a little bit,
Yeah, there's a machine going on around here that I don't think people realize sometimes.
Just working in the dark.
Yeah.
Or like what the shoemakers? What was that childhood story of the shoemaker would go to bed and the elves would make all the shoes while he's asleep? No, not Christmas. I can't think. Someone in chat hopefully will help me out here a little bit.
Missed me on
the shoemaker and the elves. Like, come on, you guys haven't heard this?
I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I think my grandmother was one of these that did the shoes outside, and I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
No, never mind. I missed completely there.
Chat say it too. What the fuck is J Will talking about? I don't know. Shoes. The shoe fairy showed up here.
Never mind. Maybe
He's been here for a while though.
Yeah, they don't get worn a lot. Yeah, none of those get worn. None of them. I'm looking at them right now. No, they don't get worn a lot. All right, should we go to the board?
Let's go to the board.
All right, so here's what we're doing. Every year, I think I have a gift, one of which is heights weights on dudes that I don't have official heights weights on. I just look at you, you about 6'2", 255, and then you go look at me and go, damn, you're pretty good. I mean, yep, that's my trick. My other trick is looking at film and trying to be within, I think the last couple of years we've gone 0.051 of the actual time that I'm predicting on their 40. So I watch years of film of these guys, watch them play at Georgia, and then when it comes time for them to go to the NFL Combine, it's our time to make some projections on their 40 times. Okay, so should let you know the worst miss I've ever had in the history of guessing 40 times. Do we know who it was?
It was Tyke, wasn't it?
No, but he was close.
Nolan Smith?
No, it was George Pickens. I predicted George Pickens to run a 4.55. Some bitch rolled in a 4.40, I think. So, yeah, some of these guys run a little bit faster than what we expect, or at least what I expect. Now, here's the deal. We got a little inside information on you guys. Not that y'all are out here betting on 40 times, but they have redone the turf out there in Indianapolis. Now, what does that mean? Well, for the last 10 years, the NFL Combine's been in Indy, and that thing might as well be an AstroTurf field. Like, the turf's real thin. There's not a lot of beads on it. It's a definition of a fast track over there in Indianapolis. They have since redone the turf. So I'm expecting not a ton of slower times. I'm just not expecting everyone to run 4.38 like it seemed like the last several years.
I believe the turf was actually banned by the NFL. That's why they had to redo it.
Because it was too fast.
Yeah.
Too fast and not thick enough. It was causing too many injuries. All right, so they have redone the turf. We expect there to be slightly slower times. Let's send it to 2 right now and start with our guesses. All right, starting with Trevor Etienne. I am going to predict that Trevor Etienne runs a 4.51 at the NFL Combine. Boys, what do we think about that projection of a 4.51 from Trevor Etienne?
I'm going to go 4.49.
I will say this. He's got to run fast. He's not big. He's under 5'9", under 210 pounds. He's going to have to run.
I'm probably going to lean more in Brooks's realm of times because I think that Trevor is way better in short area quickness. I don't think his is going to be more so like the 40-yard dash speed type.
I think we might see a short shuttle in that range of 4.22.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. I think there's a lot more short area explosiveness than there is long speed from a guy like Trevor. I mean, did he get ran down against Texas, or did that guy have the angle on him? Do we remember?
I think he got ran down.
He got ran down.
Tech.
He got ran down against Tennessee Tech. So we're not expecting 4.42. No. We're expecting somewhere in that 4.5 range. I've got Dominic Lovett running a 4.52. I think they're about equal speed.
Yeah, I would
in terms of top end speed. Same eval for me with Dom. Real shifty athlete, but again, another guy that's going to have to run pretty fast. I think to overcome some of the physical limitations that NFL scouting departments are going to have looking at him. Sorry guys, I'm still dealing with some shiznit. All right, the person that everyone expects to run fast, Arian. Now, coming out of high school, so a 10.38 100-meter runner at the University of Georgia. He ran 10.18 before retiring from track. There's a dude that can run.
Fast.
All right, it's a dude that can run. Now, my question about Arian, in order to run in the 4.2 range, we don't only have to be quick, we don't only have to be really fast, we got to be really quick too. I don't know if Arian Smith is a guy. I think he's a build speed 20 to 40. I think he's really going to get cooking towards the top end of his route concepts. I got a 4.36 right here on Arian Smith. Thoughts on that, boys?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's probably about...
I think 4.3 5 to 4-3-4 is probably, or 4-4 is where you're going to go ahead.
If we saw a 4-4 pop, I think I'd be disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
Anything under a 4-4, we check the box. Anything above that, we're losing draft grades.
If you see a 4-4 pop, he might go undrafted.
Honestly, like it sounds harsh, but this is a guy that has a long track record of dropping footballs. Also, a long list of questions about just what are we going to be able to do with him in the NFL? You know what I mean? Is he going to be able to get loose on man-to-man coverage? Is he just a slot vertical threat? What is he on the next level? He's got a lot of questions. Most will be answered by a blazing 40. We've seen many of scouting departments ignore whatever they want to ignore because so-and-so ran super fast.
Yep.
So he's going to have to do that. Now we're getting into the offensive line grades right here. I've got Dylan Fairchild coming in at a 4.97. Just under that 5 flat.
Yeah, I'll go with that. It's hard to get lineman 40 times. Like, you don't really ever watch him run.
What I'm looking for is movement patterns. Are you a stiff athlete as an offensive lineman? When you get into open field, do you move like it hurts? He never has. He's always moved really, really well. The body patterns and body movements are really good. Also super strong.
Yeah. It's also like, I think it'll run 40s.
Yeah, most of them will.
You remember last
I think
year
all these Georgia guys run. Maybe not Tate.
Yeah.
Remember how many last year were bowing out and pulling hammies? You're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
It convince me, because I mean, you know most about this stuff. Convince me the use of a 40-yard dash for an offensive line.
Well, the answer is obviously we pay attention to the 10-yard split. Now, I do think learning that somebody is like when you're a 4.78 athlete at 6'5", 310 pounds, and like we're really, really athletic and our gait looks really good. That's the only way you're going to do it at that weight, to run that fast. You're a supreme athlete. Right? As long as it's paired with the other stuff. I saw some goofy white boys last year run 4.85 and then go jump a 28-inch vertical. Guess what I just did? I just threw your 40 out. You know what I mean? I saw you run a 4.78, but your 10 split was 1.75. I'm throwing your 40 out. All right? I want to see that 1.72 range. I believe Joe Alt last year was 1.69 and ran 4.97. Okay? The 1.69 got him drafted inside the top 10 on top of the college tape.
So then why do we not have the offensive lineman run 20-yard splits?
I have no idea. I think it's one of those standard things that they just don't change.
I get it.
And like, to be honest with you, when you were there last year, when you watch those NFL guys on the offensive lineman, they have a timer for the 10 split, and then they don't pay attention to other stuff. Now, I think it's important, like with how many guys are running wide zone concepts in the NFL, I do think it's important to see how fast you are 10 to 30.
Yeah.
Because you might get into a situation where, okay, we outside zone released to our left, defensive end spiked in. Now I got to run down a linebacker to the sideline. Like we got to have some explosivity to ourselves in some of these offenses. On to Tate Ratledge. I got a 5.15 right here, boys, with an NA next to it. I do think there is a potential that Tate just says, nah, guys, I got 42 starts. Okay, just watch the tape, Bubba. Watch the tape. All right, now, Xavier Truss in on the next one. I've got a 5.2. Slowest one on the board today.
Yeah, that checks out.
I think Xavier is going to have to do everything, though. I think Xavier's going to have to go through the entire NFL Combine process and hope that someone falls in love with him as a swing player.
That's his appeal.
It's the whole appeal.
He does everything.
It's the whole appeal. We got a guy that can play 5 spots. Well, he never played center, but took reps at it during his time at Georgia. Now, a couple of these guys I do want to send off. I send off this list every year to Georgia and kind of get a, hey, don't tell me what they are, because they obviously have data on these guys. Don't tell me what they are. Tell me if I'm just like way the hell off on some of these guys. This was one of the ones that I got a message about. I guessed originally on Jared Wilson a 4.88, which is an extremely fast 40 time for offensive linemen north of 300 pounds. The first text I got back was, Jared's too high. Right, you got to go a lot lower on that one. I didn't go too much lower. I went 4.81 right here. If we pop 4.7s, man. All right, here's my thing, though. I watched a ton of Jared Wilson this year. I never felt like he played like this.
No, never.
But I know he's going to test like this because that's all they told us about all offseason. Yep. Wait till you see how athletic this offensive lineman is. We didn't do much with him as an offense. I didn't see a ton of Jared Wilson using his athleticism because he's a great athlete.
And I think the areas that probably hinder that there were some moments this season where it's like, oh yeah, this guy is making one of his first years starting. And I think that he did rely on a lot of athleticism, but when you go from a guy where Cedric Van Pran, where for 3.5 years, everything he did was so technically sound and he was always in the right position, always in the right spot. You notice a couple of things like that with Jared Wilson, so that's probably why you don't look.
And I do think there are some fair points here about, hey, I mean, he did play the first 5 weeks with an ankle injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He got banged up early on in the year. I think he missed the Tennessee Tech game or one of those games early in the season. He was out.
Alabama game and missed the Mississippi State and Auburn game.
That's what it was. Okay, so he missed some starts this year for Georgia with a lower body injury, so that's probably why we saw some of that stiffness. Now, I'm not expecting Warren Brinson to run blazing fast. I got Warren Brinson at a 4.92.
Yeah.
If he cracks under 5, I think you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was a really highly touted football player coming out of IMG Academy, I believe.
Think so,
in high school by way of Savannah. So a high 4-star. He's got the pedigree. Constantly, I shouldn't say constantly, pretty banged up during his career at the University of Georgia. On to Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. I've got Ingram Dawkins running 4.84, which I think would be an exceptional time for a football player that's probably going to move into the 3-tech when he gets to pro ball, I think. I don't envision Tyrion Ingram Dawkins a true 5.
No, you're not.
Okay, so if we run anywhere sub 4.9, he's going to be, I think his Senior Bowl measurements were 6'5", 278 pounds. If we show up to the combine maybe 282 and run in the 4.8 range, I think we made ourselves some money. That's where I got him. Nazir Stackhouse. Now, despite the fact that he almost had a pick 6 in his career, give me Nazir Stackhouse at a 5.05. He's also going to be, I think, a lot bigger than most NFL people realize. Stack's a huge human. You've probably seen him on campus. He is girthy, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's going to probably weigh in, I would think, 315, maybe 310, and hopefully 6'4 plus, okay, with some decent arm length as well. Give me something in that 5 flat range. I think you'll get drafted relatively highly. Now, the next one of the next 9 names that I was told, hey, maybe a little bit lower than what you projected. Originally, I had Michael Williams running a 4.72. Intel back, drop it. So I dropped it down to a 4.65. If we run 4.65 at 6'5", 260 pounds, first round, top 10 pick, guaranteed. 15. Yeah, I mean, shit, Will Anderson was a 4.78 guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I know it's a first 10 split thing, and that's what everyone's looking at. I didn't envision getting that back. I've never envisioned Michael Williams being some super twitchy football player. I just always thought he's 6'5", he's 265, he does everything right. Everything's an A flat, everything's a 95 grade on Michael, except for his run defense, A plus.
Yeah, I always envisioned him as like a freight train, where it's like, once it gets going, you're not stopping it, but it does take a while to get there.
Yeah. I mean, how many times has Michael Williams beaten somebody on a speed rush?
Not a ton.
Not a ton.
No.
That's where the twitch comes from. That's where that 4.4-ish 40 time comes in. Another guy I was told a little bit too high on. I had Smile Mondon in that 4.55 range. Now, the reason being, coming out of high school, he was like an 11.5, 110 hurdle runner. So that's like state championship caliber. But he's 220 pounds. This is a 243 pounder right now. If you see Smile Mondon in person, that's a really thick individual with a lot of muscle mass. I've got him running a 4.48 right here after reconsidering.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, we run 4.48. You might be a top 60.
That's probably the one that surprised me the most, because I don't think Smile's ever been known for his covering all 53 speed or his ability to like run down guys. But 4.48 is a very respectable time. What was Roquan? I think he was in the 4.5 range.
I think Roquan ran a 4.42. No, 4.51.
I was going to say 4.51.
At 240 pounds.
I'll check it.
238, I think is what he measured in at the combine. If I hit that, I'm just a lunatic. If I hit that, I'm a lunatic.
4.51.
What do you weigh?
About to find out. 236.
I missed it by 2 pounds.
Close.
Nailed the 4.51 though.
He did.
All right, so on to the next one. We'll go Jalen Walker, another one. I want to say Jalen Walker's going to run 4.65.
Yeah.
4.68. I think that's where he's at. You talking about running the 53. Apart from running a couple of quarterbacks down, I don't remember the clip of Jalen Walker where I'm like, whoa, look how fast he moved from here to here.
That arch rundown was pretty impressive.
Correct.
And I think that's more, I'm kind of like, 4.6 might be
But I feel like his...
And isn't that, like, we watched a ton, isn't that field speed? That's game speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a game speed eval guy for me.
I do think the one thing that's going to... I mean, he might not run a 40. He might be one of these guys where they're like, hey, shut it down. But if he does, I think he's going to come in light at the combine.
Also, who does he run with? Does he run with defensive linemen? Does he run with linebackers?
He'll go with linebackers.
I think he's listed as linebacker.
Is he?
He'll go with
I think that's a mistake. I think we need to be projecting ourselves as a 10-plus sack guy in the league that's going to Micah Parsons, not the other way around. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So let's run with the big guys and let's pop a 4.68 in a group that's filled with a bunch of 4.75s. I think that would be my strategy. Let's actually guess it. I've got enough 4.58 right here, and I think I'm low. I think I'm getting tricked by Georgia right there. 4.58. Now, Malachi Starks, I think is a guaranteed 4.42. He's a guaranteed 4.42.
Checks out.
If he were 5'11", he'd run 4.38. But he's 6'2". You know, he is a long football player. I don't know if everyone knows that about him. He's very lanky. So I just don't know how. You know who John Gruden compared him to? Kyle Hamilton.
Oh,
I don't see that.
I feel like that's the safety over 6 feet.
Yeah,
Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah,
I don't think he plays as physical as Kyle Hamilton.
No, I think he has better ball skills than Kyle Hamilton.
I agree with that.
But I don't know. I'd draft Malachi in top 15 and have a 10-year pro at whatever position I want to play him at. Mm-hmm. There's also, should be noted here, this dude was off the charts explosive metrics coming out of high school. I think he's a 22-foot long jumper.
Yeah, the
22-foot long jumper, a sub-11 second 100-meter runner before he just stopped running that and started winning championships in the long jump. So, and at the time they had Sammy Brown running the 100, so I think you're okay with that. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. Sammy Brown was the selective choice to run the 100 during Malachi Starks' time at Jefferson High School. All right, so those are our projections right there. Maybe take a quick screenshot at home. We'll see. The goal here is to be plus or minus 0.05. Okay, so if we come up here and Trevor Etienne runs a 4.56, we've hit that. If Trevor Etienne goes up and runs a 4.46, we've hit that. Okay. So that's kind of our range of plus or minus right there. Kind of making it difficult on us, honestly. All right, we good on that?
Yes, sir.
Good.
All right, up next, Kamari Lassiter gave a gift to the University of Georgia, and I ain't out here pocket watching or nothing. I ain't one of them folks. But I was expecting man gave some money to the University of Georgia to get a full-length article written about him and a tweet out from the athletic department and a thank you message. Boys, he gave him 4 racks. So here's what I'm thinking.
I mean, that's a lot to me.
It's a lot of money. I don't mean to disparage anybody listening to this at home that thinks $4,000 is a lot of money. However, they charge like 10 racks just to get in there to watch practice from collective members. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, boys. Would we all be okay to take a month off of wages to send $4,000 to Georgia for a tweet and an article about how awesome the Film Guy Network is?
I don't know, man. I got a house payment coming up.
I like being able to eat.
These guys aren't here for the greater good. That's what I'm hearing. They don't want to eat ramen. They don't want to eat ramen for a week to get tweeted out by a $1.3 million account.
Gotta live, man.
Also, none of us played for Georgia.
Yeah, but it's just the money.
You just said that there's guys paying 10 racks to show up to practice. They're not getting tweets, brother. Kamari Lassiter got a tweet because he's Kamari Lassiter.
We'd receive more ridicule than we would.
We would get a thank you for your donation. Goodbye.
Huh.
So no, I don't want to do that.
What if we just buy a billboard out there?
Okay. What do you want to put on the billboard?
Shut up and grind the tape.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, Kamari, would you say Kamari spent more than $4,000 on jewelry in the last calendar year?
I would assume so, yeah.
Have you
I would too.
Seen the chain that he rocks?
By the way. I would too, by the way.
Chain
yes, I would too.
Yeah. So again, I'm sure they're happy about the $4,000, but it's $4,000.
Maybe that's just what they're reporting.
I mean, you can't even pay a backup safety's month's wages with $4,000.
I think it was more a former and a current NFL star, former player, was coming forward to talk about how much the University of Georgia helped him as a man and helped him become the player that he is in the NFL right now. And by the way, he also donated some money that signifies the current number he has. It was more about the story of former player was being generous to a school.
Ain't no doubt. Look, I'm not here to crap on the story. I'm here to take advantage. You know?
He said there's more to come. We'll see.
And I could make the same promise.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I ain't giving them $4,000.
I've already
giving them 4 racks.
I've already given them $4,000.
Oh, that's right.
Fair point. I've already done my
I've
fair
given
share.
them way more than $4,000.
That's a good point, boys. But awesome. A tremendous job by, in all seriousness, a tremendous job by Kamari. That's probably the quickest donation they've gotten from an alumnus.
Probably so.
That's within
most
8
likely.
months of leaving. So that's not bad on that. Speaking of money, James Cook holding out for some more of it.
Ooh.
I think this is brilliant by James Cook, honestly. Rumors are he's expecting to hold out for somewhere in the range of $15 million annually. That would make him the second highest paid back in the NFL. Here's why I think you have to hold out if you're James Cook this year. I believe he is up for franchise tag next year.
Yes.
Yep.
So if we don't hold leverage this year, we have none in terms of our free agency.
Yeah, I think his annual salary right now is about $1.6 million around that range.
Total contract value over 5.
Yeah, so makes sense. You had 2 really good seasons. One that you're just coming off of setting the franchise record for singular season rushing touchdowns, like a tremendous year for James Cook. So it makes complete sense, and especially like the shelf life of running backs in the NFL, we know is not getting any longer, and we've seen the likes of what has happened at the position of Christian McCaffrey. He's been banged up with injuries. Nick Chubb has been banged up with injuries. Like, he's one injury away of next season. If he doesn't get this extension, of all of a sudden his value goes drastically down. Like, this is big time, life changing money for James Cook. So you want to make sure you capitalize off of your ceiling right now.
Speaking of holding out, he'll never do it, but he needs to. It's one Nick Chubb. Names of players who make more money per year than Nick Chubb. A.J. Dillon, DJ Dallas, Justice Hill, Travis Etienne, Gus Edwards, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, Jamal Williams, Zach Moss, Raheem Mostert, Austin Eckler. Stop me when I find a back better than Nick Chubb. Jameer Gibbs?
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson?
I would say so.
How about Devin Singletary? No chance. Miles Sanders? No, thank you.
No.
DeAndre Swift makes $6 million more annually than Nick Chubb.
Yeah, no.
Not anymore. No.
I'm all for folks that are like, hey, your contract's your contract. He's getting hosed.
Yes,
and
he
he'll never talk about it, but he's getting hosed.
I do think, remember like this time last year when all the NFL running backs were on that Zoom call about what can they do for their value in the league, because it was very clear that the running back position was kind of getting financially choked out. He was one of the leading voices on that Zoom call. So it's just Nick Chubb, man. He's not going to complain about that.
Undrafted free agent this summer, so maybe he unrestricted free agent, I should say.
Yeah.
Unrestricted free agent, I believe, this summer, so he might get his money. He should get his money, but he's 30.
Get out of
2 knee
Cleveland,
injuries,
bro, please.
3.
Yeah.
Two within
1 in college, 2 in pros, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
2 big time.
he only had 1 in the pros.
Well, he just had another.
He had the Minka Fitzpatrick knee injury in the pros, and then just recent.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So I understand, but man, if we're going to get first back totes next year, we better be doing it for at least $7 million.
Agreed.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And has been loyal to a football program that doesn't have loyalty.
Nope.
No, not at all.
I mean, Myles Garrett's asking for trades already.
I mean, they did what they did to Baker was
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So I'm with him. All right. Now, speaking of being with you, a lot of folks want the Atlanta Falcons to draft a Georgia Bulldog, and I think the highest drafted dog ever is Hakeem Denton, the 3rd round by the Falcons or something crazy like that.
A while ago.
So it's been a minute. So here's what we're going to do. I believe I'm playing Terry Fontenot here, and Jonathan is trying to sell me on drafting Georgia Bulldogs. Let's try this.
Alrighty, I've got a few points that I just got to make, and I think it really sells this point home. Most specifically, selling you on Jalen Walker or Mykel Williams. Got the 15th overall pick, Terry. So it feels like you have a chance as of right now. Now, this is before the NFL Combine goes on, so these guys could absolutely skyrocket their value, and they may get taken before you even have a chance at nabbing them. But the 15th overall pick, you might be able to get yourself a Jalen Walker or a Mykel Williams. First off, the last time a player from your franchise had 10 or more sacks in a season was Vic Beasley in 2016. He hasn't been in the league since 2020. Prior to that, you would have had to go back to 2012 when John Abraham had 10 sacks in a season and 9.5 prior to that.
Is that D-Block?
A Madden goat.
Is that D Block? Remember that video? We hanging out down here on D Block.
Oh, yeah.
The guitar.
Yes.
That's D Block.
Yes.
All right.
So really the last time he had a great, consistent pass rusher was in the early 2010s, late 2000s. So it's been quite a minute since we've had one of these consistent sack producers on our defensive line. For the last 5 seasons, the Falcons have been a middle-of-the-pack rush defense, consistently right smack in the middle of the league. Mediocrity is kind of what we're getting at here. And mediocrity in the NFL is never a good thing, especially if we're consistently mediocre. So that really kind of sells the point of Mykel Williams definitely should be on your radar of he is immensely talented at stopping the run. I mean, arguably the best in this draft class in that department. So,
all right, man, I'm going to be honest with you, Falcons fan. Me being a general manager, my ass is on the line. All right. So you talking about we ain't had 10 sack guys since yada, 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 mentioning Vic Beasley. I mean, why would I draft 2 Georgia guys that don't have stat production? Why would I draft Mike Green out of Marshall, who just had 17 sacks and blew up the Senior Bowl?
That's a great point. Hey, Mike Green, I'm a fan of, but I'm here to sell you on these 2 guys specifically because I think they would add tremendous value to this franchise in a multitude of ways. But I'm glad you brought up stat production because that's one of my key points as well of Trayvon Walker's career high in sacks in college was 6. He just had back-to-back seasons of 10 sacks in the NFL. Number 1 overall pick, but that was the biggest question about him. So again, back-to-back seasons.
Effort sacks.
Okay.
Effort sacks.
Still count. Nolan Smith's career high in college was 3.5. He just finished with 6.5 in the regular season and then was off the charts in the playoffs.
We don't have the supporting cast that Nolan Smith's got. So, yeah, we could put Nolan Smith on our roster tomorrow. He ain't going to do what he's doing right now in Philly.
Maybe you would if you're doing what I'm telling you to do this season.
Attaboy.
Maybe if you drafted them.
Attaboy. Cook my ass.
But let's step away from the numbers because we know, as you're saying, effort sacks, maybe sometimes the numbers do lie to us. But I want you to answer a question for me. What do these teams have in common? The Philadelphia Eagles, Houston Texans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Green Bay Packers.
I think they all got pretty good defenses, Bob.
They do have good defenses. Let's get a little more specific, though. All 4 organizations within the last 3 years have used a top 3 draft pick or top 3 round draft pick on a former Bulldog. Those 4 teams have also all made the playoffs this season. When's the last time the Falcons made the playoffs?
I don't know. I'm not a Falcons fan.
Exactly.
It was, 2019.
So look, Terry.
It's been since 2019.
It's been a minute, all right? That's what I'm getting at. So look, Terry, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but I am here telling you how to do your job. For this one very instance of the offense is set. You got the QB of the future, Michael Penix. You got Bijan Robinson. You got Tyler Algier. You got Drake London. You got all the weapons in the world, and you have a pretty solid offensive line right now. It's time to beef up on defense because if you do that, and specifically on the front 7, because you got the playmakers in the secondary, we need to really focus in on the box on the defense this season, okay? And I really want to sell it with this point right here of since 2022, 12 defensive players from Georgia have been drafted inside of the top 3 rounds. 10 of those players are either starters or big-time contributors on the roster.
10 for 12 ain't bad.
Not bad at all.
It's 5 out of 6 in a reduced fraction.
So basically what I'm telling you were saying your job's on the line. I'm essentially guaranteeing you that you're going to hit on your first-round draft pick if you take one of Jalen Walker or Michael
but
Williams.
what if I like Shamar Stewart?
Not even that. Before we get into that, statistics and production and all that. And by the way, just unbiased Raiders fan. I don't give a shit if you draft Falcons fans. Frankly, I'd be happy if you didn't draft them so we could take them. But you draft a Georgia player, they instantly become a star. You're putting more asses in seats. You're making more revenue. It's kind of hard to sell games as a Falcons team right now because, let's be fair, you're not that great. If you have a former Georgia Bulldog, that a familiar face that a lot of common fans have, I would say probably 75% of Falcons fans are also Georgia Bulldogs fans. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, I would say so.
So you're going to put a familiar face on the defense in the first round? Absolutely do that.
Now, there's this theory in these NFL circles that I run in. You know, I'm GM of these here Falcons.
Big dog.
There's a theory, apparently, that you should avoid drafting hometown success stories.
Really?
Reason being, I'm drafting you 15th overall. I'm probably giving you $22 million. Doing that close to home, I don't know how I feel about that. Now, tell me about these character evals of these Georgia Bulldogs that we got coming up. Because, you know, that's why I was a PUSSY and avoided Jalen Carter. Because I was a little worried about some stuff. think I had an opportunity to draft him. Did I have an opportunity to draft him?
You did have an opportunity.
Passed
That's
up.
when you took Bijan Robinson. Great player, by the way.
Great player.
Great player.
Great player. Probably would have been better off with Grady Jarrett's replacement. But yeah. What we got character eval-wise on these guys? Are they solid? They stern?
Oh, these two players, Jalen Walker and Micah Williams, are the definition of no issues whatsoever.
No
strictly
bullshit.
Business, love football. I mean, these guys are through and through football lovers.
Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with my boy Brooks Austin down there. He does a great job covering the University of Georgia. He just told me that Micah Williams, Jalen Walker, no chain guys.
Strictly business.
Yep, strictly business. About their stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I think he sold me.
I hope
I think
so.
we'll take some dogs this year. Unless James Pierce is available.
I'm okay with that too.
Boy, he fell off, didn't he?
I mean, he went from potential number 1 overall pick to now they're saying like, 28th
20?
pick.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, we have a CKS bracket coming up right now. So here's how this was done. I think Kirby went through, ranked all.
So there's been 9 current Kirby Smart teams. I left out the 2016 team because frankly it makes it easier for the bracket, and we can all agree that would be the team that gets eliminated the quickest because Kirby's first
Not
year.
a big Eason fan, huh?
Oh, Kirby's first year had to get things in there. So I went ahead and made this bracket for us so we can go ahead and kind of decide what the best Kirby Smart team is right now, because it was interesting because obviously there's the 2 teams that we you're 2 for 2 tonight. There's 2 teams that we know are going to reach the finals, but I kind of wanted to see how they
You put some graphic design work into this bitch right here, baby.
Yeah, dude.
That thing's clean, cuz.
Yeah.
We bring out Microsoft Word on that bitch. Woo! All right, let's see here. Where do we want to start?
Let's start at the top left.
Top left, 2021 versus
That's a
2024.
layup.
So, there's a layup. There's 2021.
The question I have with this one is, what would the 2024 team have to do to win that game?
Dude, I don't know if there's anything that tops ending a 40-plus year title drought.
Not top it, but to beat
Maybe
that
a
team.
different color.
Yeah, I would use a different color.
You're like my wife when I'm literally walking to the trash can and she's like, hey, can you take the trash out?
Well, you did write the entire
I'm like, honey,
Yeah.
I'm already here, baby.
entire number.
I'm already here,
You
baby.
went through the whole thought
You didn't
process
stop at the 2, you didn't stop at the 0, not even the second 2. You wrote the whole number, so
white background.
it's not like you're like, I was just doing
Yellow.
that. But continue, please. So 2021 obviously wins. Is there any world where that 2024 team wins that game?
No.
I can't think of a.
I think
So we're doing
You
these
think Ole
teams
Miss's
versus-
defensive line beat the shit out of that offensive line from last year? Holy hell.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter would eat souls.
So this is like these teams matched up against
Yeah,
one another?
hypothetically, if the 2021 roster played 2024.
Yeah,
they
no,
win that
cooked.
game.
See ya. All right, 2017, 2018. Now, this would have been first year starting Jake Fromm.
Correct.
Second year starting Jake Fromm.
Correct.
This would have been Rose Bowl champ
Yes.
with Lorenzo Carter. We got Nick Chubb. We got Sony Michel. You got the wide receiver core that was really good.
Williams, Terry
Ridley,
Godwin.
I've already sold myself. Give me 2017.
You sure?
Yeah, I am. Tell me why 2018's got a chance.
2018's got Richard LeCount. They've got Jim Thorpe winning DeAndre Baker. They've got a really solid linebacking core. DeAndre Swift and DeAndre Swift and Elijah Holyfield made that not fall off as much offensively as you thought they would. They had dual 1,000-yard rushers once again. I think that 2018 was really, really good. Slipped up against LSU on the road, and then obviously had the heartbreaking loss against Alabama in the SEC championship. But
This is the last team on the board that I didn't cover. 2018. So I don't know much about these guys.
The only thing that would make me continue to lean with 2017 of there's just more generational players on that roster.
The defense alone.
Roquan Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
how did I forget Roquan? An idiot.
Nick Chubb, Sony Michel, like those 3 generational players alone are like.
Got Ben Cleveland starting at tackle, Andrew Thomas starting at right tackle, Isaiah Wynn at left tackle, Lamont Gaillard in at center.
Yep.
So maybe I do know a little bit more about that roster than I thought. And still playing with a fullback.
Yeah.
Fat Man Cheney up there dialing it up. Let's go. All right. Are we good with 2017?
yeah,
good with
I can
it.
live with
All
it.
right, let's go to the other side of the bracket. 2022 versus 2020.
Another
That's another dub.
I mean,
Nice and
to
easy.
be fair, like there is a clear 1A.
Also, that 2020 team very slept on. I know they got the shit beat out of them against LSU, but that team way better than most.
You're thinking of 2019.
Excuse me. That team way better. They didn't get to the SEC championship, did they? That was the Florida year.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right, that team way better than most people remember them to be.
Yes.
I think personally.
Still immensely talented.
Yeah, first year starting for Stetson there. I mean, to go, would they go 10-2 in conference play or in the regular season?
Oh, they went 7-2. in regular season play.
Because Vandy forfeited.
Oh, yeah, COVID season.
Vandy canceled.
2 losses were Florida and Alabama.
Correct.
Oof. That Alabama game, man.
Yeah.
That Alabama game was a game that, like every Alabama game, you had control over it. You were playing well, and it just got away from you. And when the wheels fell off, everything went to shit.
And
Two critical errors in that football game happened back to back, if my memory serves me correctly. You had a busted coverage on a 90-yard touchdown catch.
Correct.
To Ruggs. The next possession, you're driving the ball down the field. Stetson throws a red zone interception.
This was the quintessential tip passes Stetson's too short, because it was tip passes galore. I believe first possession was a tip pass interception.
Yep.
No, I think this is our best first round matchup right here.
I agree.
2023 Georgia and 2019
That bottom half of the
Georgia.
bracket's very, very interesting.
What do we think? What do you think of 2023? 2019?
The 2019 defense was so good. It was so slept on because
Going into that LSU game, they gone 12 games, allowing 10.6 points per game, the fewest amount of points per game since 1981.
Yep, correct.
I ran down so many Excel sheets, pulling down stats references all the way back to as long as they kept it, just to get that stat for you. And I'm glad it's a steel trap in there and got held in. Now, they gave up about $500,000 to LSU in the SEC championship
But
game.
I don't think there's Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase on that 2023 roster, even though there's a Brock Bowers.
And Lyle McConkey.
But they're hurt. You got to apply that.
Banged up.
Yeah, I mean, they're banged up. You have to apply that. That 2023 team had to do it.
Yeah. That 2019 offense, though,
Very bad.
was not
Very,
good.
very bad.
Was not good. That's a banged up DeAndre
I
Swift,
think I
too.
could fathom 2023 getting to 30 points against the 2019 team. I do not know how 2019 Georgia scores 30 points on 2023.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That 2023 defense was still really, really good.
Very good.
Yeah. All right, so now we're getting into the meat of it. We're going easy. 2021 right here over those guys. Now, I do think there is a world where Sony and Nick could kind of shrink their possessions in that football game.
I think there's
That'd be a 24-17 dub right there.
I think there's a world where Roquan Smith just makes you crap your pants, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still 2021 Stetson. This was not
This wasn't
holistically
right.
beloved Stetson.
This is 3,400 yards, Stetson.
Yeah.
Yeah, not third in the Heisman has Stetson.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing, like you said, shrink the possessions. The only problem is, are Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel having success on that front six?
I don't know.
That's a front six. There are
Good God, the NFL players that would be banging heads in that football game.
There are 5 first-round draft picks just on the defensive line alone against 2021 Georgia.
There were 4 offensive line starters in the NFL on that line, except for Ben Cleveland.
It's true.
So 3. We had 3. Crazy. Wide receiver core I think a lot better in 2017 than in 2021.
You think? Still Ladd, Jermaine Burton,
you're
Brock
right.
Bowers,
Yeah, no,
Darnell
20
Washington.
Well, we got young Ladd in 21.
Still
He
good.
didn't beat out Jermaine until the Orange Bowl.
Still good Ladd.
He was effective, lad.
Still a good
He was
Ladd.
like 450 Ladd though, not 800 Ladd.
This was
Yeah, but
Jermaine Burton was explosive.
But he was, oh shit, that white boy just got in our head, lad. Auburn, Alabama. I mean, he did it in games. So I'm going to go.
I just really, really remember Javon Wims and Ridley and all those big, long Holloman.
Yeah.
All those big physical
wasn't
tight
until
wide receivers. Huh?
And Holloman wasn't until like 2018, and Ridley didn't pop off really until that national championship game. Like, he was a very modest receiver throughout that. Javon Wims was your 50-50.
You want to have fun? Go watch that wide receiver core block downfield in the Rose Bowl.
Oh, dude, they were great.
Go watch that shit. Oh, man, I make you love football. When I see things like that, I love football more. When I see other guys loving football. All right, on to this other side of the bracket, 2022, 2023, pretty easy. 2022. Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's what we expected in the national title between these two football teams. 2021 clears.
You think so?
Clear. No. Hold on.
Clears.
Hold on.
Because, you have to put it in this perspective, too.
They had the whole defense in 2021.
They had the whole defense, but you also have to look at it as this is 2022 Stetson, this is 2022 Brock Bowers, this is 2022 Ladd McConkey. There's a lot of more veteran presences.
This is 2022 Kenny McIntosh. Now, it's not James Cook, Zamir White, dude, but Kenny McIntosh was a very good running back for you while he was there. I'm going with 2022 because we saw an avenue where if you scored points against Georgia's defense, while it was almost impossible to do, it could be done. We saw Alabama do it. I don't see an avenue where Georgia's offense can play catch-up on that 2021 roster. We saw that for 2022. They were down 14 points in the fourth quarter against Ohio State. They had to make comebacks. You could have games where, all right, we're going to get held to 16 points on offense, and we have a potential first-round quarterback. Our defense needs to go make stops. Like, they won games so many numerous ways that year that I'm going to go 2022.
All right, I'm going to go 2022 for this trolling purpose alone. You probably shouldn't even won the title in 2021. Jameson Williams got hurt.
God.
Trolling. He's kidding. Okay, 16 games of a season. Injuries are part of football. I hate to tell people that, but they just are. All right, so that's a fun little experiment. I'm glad we put that on the show notes tonight. Give us a little something towards the end. I think they got chat's a little hung up in between those two. Some people saying 2021, some people saying 2022. To each their own. Mm-hmm. To each their own. Anything else, boys?
I think that's all we got for the week.
That's it.
Celebrated 2 years sober yesterday.
Congratulations, man.
Yep.
And a baby.
Tweeted about this. I don't know if anybody else follows me on Twitter. You should. Just crossed over 69,000 followers.
Nice.
Attaboy.
Nice.
But I do want to talk about this just a little bit. I was one of those people, okay, and I know a lot of these people. I was one of those people that if I wanted to drink, I couldn't have one. I had to have 13. I couldn't have 3. I had to have 14. Okay. It was never drinking to just take an edge off. It started that way, and then it was drinking to become drunk all the time. If that's you, all right, if you're one of these people that just can't have one or just can't have 2, you probably need to put it down. And I think you'll be better for it. I think you will enjoy your life a lot more. So yeah, that's what I got going on. And as long as I've got things to live for, I promise you I'll be staying away from alcohol, because it just was not a good thing for me. I think you guys worked for me. Maybe not you. You worked for me as an alcoholic.
I worked for you. I didn't cover games with you. I just wrote.
Different person?
Different person, yeah.
Yeah. A lot
more efficient person.
Huh?
More efficient person.
For sure. And that was the thing that I was constantly dealing with all the time. We work in an industry, in my opinion, that is today builds on tomorrow. Tomorrow builds on the next day. We are constantly trying to do this in terms of our content production and our growth on the channel. And every day I would get to about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then I'd start drinking, and I'd lose whatever productivity I had, and then I'd start from the loss point the next day. So if that's one of you, or if you're like me, just cold turkey, get rid of it, all right? And I think you'll be better off for it. Appreciate you guys for being here. I love you. I'll see you Monday, unless we want to do film study tomorrow. You want to crack out some film?
Will not be here. Go ahead and crack that one out.
Film, baby. We'll see you on Monday.